on the screen too, just in case.
Tell the DPW to, like, bring it down a few pages.
Then are you all set with Zoom?
Getting it up and running.
Okay. Give you a couple more minutes.
The DPW to the last one I have to read.
Let me know when you're ready.
Okay, I think we're ready.
Is Saritha on Zoom at all?
No.
Look at that all the time.
And Joel hasn't joined yet either.
Is that where you know, you just know it?
I just know it by now.
Just let me know when he joins.
We used to use this.
All right. With it being after 7, it is 7:09. I am calling this meeting of the Chelmsford Planning Board to order. It is Wednesday, July 8th. And my name is Chris Lavalley, and I'm the chair of the board. Tonight, we will be following the posted agenda. The meeting tonight is in person and on Zoom. If Zoom fails at any point in the meeting, we will continue in person. The meeting is being televised live and recorded by Chelmsford Telemedia and will be available on their website and on YouTube. First item on our public agenda is public input. Public input shall be limited to statements from the public relating to any issues within our jurisdiction, but are not the subject of a public hearing tonight or in the future before the board. Public comment on any of those public hearings will be heard during those time slots. Is there any member of the public wishing to speak?
Good evening. I'm Brian Latina, Precinct 9, Town Meeting Rep, 15 Jesse Road is my address. This one is kind of related to, I believe, some of the meeting tonight. There was a letter sent out to some abutters in my precinct, and one of my business owners called very upset. One, it was addressed to North Chelmsford. He's in South Chelmsford, and it said you may be in a butter or a actual zoning change. And the second part of it, inside the document, it said that there was a item tonight for a coffee shop.
Oh,
But
yes.
The reality was, it's not a coffee shop, it's a zoning of a huge area that I've lived at for many years. And I was concerned that accuracy is really important when you're identifying this stuff, and somebody needs to start checking this. And if we're doing zoning changes in the middle of summer, upsetting businesses like that, he thought he was going to lose his business by the changes that he was seeing. There was no explanation. And I read through it and I said, I can't believe this is how we put this together. So please check spelling and address it. And also mark the streets when you're doing these maps. You couldn't tell where the heck the place was unless you were really tight on it.
Okay.
So, very concerned accuracy because the public was not properly notified in my view.
Thank you for your input. Any other members of the public wishing to speak? Okay. Anyone on Zoom?
Not yet.
All right. So for the record, we have Marcy, Deirdre, Anita, John, Mike, and myself in the room. Saritha is not here tonight, and Joel should be joining us soon on Zoom. All right, next item on the agenda is 91 Tingsboro Road.
You don't really need an easel, so I'm gonna bring up all your plans.
Go ahead.
Good evening, Attorney Catherine Flood here on behalf of Gerald Daly and Tina Daly, trustees of the Matty Kai Realty Trust, for site plan approval and COID special permit approval for property located at 91 Tingsboro Road. Here with me tonight is Matt Hammer from Landplex. The applicant has owned the property for approximately 12 years and operates a family business, Jerry Daly and Sons Plumbing and Heating, which business has been operating in Chelmsford since 1972. Over the years, the business has grown and they need more space. The construction of a new two-story commercial building in the rear of the property will allow them additional space to park vehicles, office space for staff, and a conference room to conduct training for their employees. The property is in the roadside commercial district in the COID overlay. On September 24th, 2025, we appeared before this board for a finding of applicability pursuant to Section 195, 119B, that the project meets criteria for COID project under Section 195, 110. The board made a positive finding and classified the project as a COID project. As you can see from the site plan, the property consists of approximately 24,271 square feet of land with an existing 1.5-story commercial building. As stated previously, the proposed project will consist of the construction of a two-story commercial structure with 3 bays in the rear of the lot. The first floor consists of 3 bays for parking vehicles and storage for the plumbing business. The second floor consists of offices and a conference/training room for his employees. The building consists of 4,283 square feet. The building would be used for the operation of Jerry Daly and Sons Plumbing and Heating. The business currently employs 22 professionals and operates Monday through Friday, 7 to 4 p.m. The proposed project complies with the parking requirements. As shown on the plan, there are 17 parking spaces. The proposed building is located in the rear of the property, therefore minimizing the visual intrusion from public ways. There is adequate access to the site provided by an existing curb cut off of Tingsboro Road. There'll be no new curb cuts proposed. There will be no new increased traffic due to construction of the proposed building. As you can see from the plan submitted, there is lighting over the garage bays and the exterior door on the proposed project. There is also existing lights on the existing structure. The existing landscape in front of the current structure will remain. The applicant intends to plant 4 arborvitaes on the westerly side of the property. There is also a fence on the westerly side of the property. The combination of planting of the arborvitaes and the fence will minimize the glare from headlights, as well as minimize the visual intrusion of parking by the neighbor on the westerly side of the project. The proposed project does not involve the removal of any trees. The site will be serviced by town water and sewer. I'll let Matt go into the sewer pump and the water line. The proposed dumpster is shown on the easterly side of the site plan. The estimated time to complete the proposed project is 12 months. The applicant is requesting a special permit in the COID for dimensional requirements. With the special permit, if issued, the proposed project complies with all the dimensional requirements in the COID. There is a chart attached to my narrative that was submitted with the application as well as shown on the site plan. I will let Matt take over and go over the plan as well as any stormwater.
For the record, my name is Matt Hammer with Landplex Engineering, 60 Fletcher Street in Lowell, Massachusetts. So, Evan, if you could put up the existing conditions plan for me, please.
And while Evan's doing that, I just wanted to note for the record that Joel has joined us, or he's in the waiting room.
So existing is a 1.5-story commercial building. There's a curb cut here, which is going to remain, and there's currently parking spaces here, of which there are 9, and here, which there are 9, and then there's 2 parallel spaces and a handicap space to service the building. The grading pitches towards the rear of the property. There's soil testing that we've done prior to doing the site plan. There's a shed in the rear, and there's an existing stormwater system, detention basin in the rear, and there's a shed here. With this existing conditions plan, we wanted to show the items that would be removed for the project, and that would be an area here of the existing pavement that will be removed and replaced with the building, as well as the 2 sheds that are on the property. If you go to the layout. This is a basic layout of the improvements. The 2 spaces will remain here, the parallel spaces. There'll be 6 spaces here and 5 spaces here in order to reconfigure this area here to access 3 bays within the building itself. The building is 32 by 68 feet. There's a proposed dumpster area here that'll be fenced in by white vinyl fencing. Shown here is 4 arborvitae trees that we're proposing along the buffer, which is a goal of redeveloping a property, which will actually start at the end of the fencing and continue here. That came out of some preliminary meetings we had with the town prior to doing the plans. There's also a snow storage area along here, and there's a snow storage area along here. And then if you could go to the grading plan. So the grading plan is fairly basic. We're providing an infiltration system here to take the roof runoff from the proposed building. And we're also providing drainage that gets around to the existing stormwater system that's located in the rear. This plan also shows a proposed 100 watt downward facing light in front of the building here, as well as an erosion control line and water and sewer. We have elevations for the building that I can show you. This is,
You wanna go through the floor plan?
yeah, this is just the floor plan here of the main level at the lower level. And then there's an entrance, there's a stairwell to get up to the 2nd floor. Second floor has training areas for the employees, offices, break rooms, bathrooms. These are the elevations of the building itself. This is what you'll see when you're driving along Tingsboro Road. You'll see this front of the building. These are the 2 sides of the building, and then this is the rear of the building. That's a very good perspective right here as to what the finished product will look like once the building is up. And that's my presentation.
Okay.
I can answer any questions that anyone may have. Oh, additionally, I went through the comments that were received today from all the municipal departments. We have no problem addressing all of those comments. We don't see anything that's, coming out in terms of anything that's gonna materially change what you're seeing here this evening. A lot of it was crossing Ts and dotting Is by the town engineer.
Okay.
Thank you.
Marcy, we have some letters.
We have a lot of letters. All right. Starting with the Public Health Department. It says, this letter concerns the proposed project at 91 Tingsborough Road, consisting of the construction of a new two-story, 4,283 square foot commercial building with 3 loading bays. If the proposed development is unable to connect to the town's sanitary sewer system, on-site septic disposal will be required, and any such system must be designed, constructed, and installed in full compliance with Title V of Massachusetts State's Environmental Code, and must successfully complete the Chelmsford Health Department's permitting, review, and inspection projects. Should the project include floor drains within the loading bays, all floor drains must be installed and maintained in compliance with the Town of Chelmsford's general provisions. Chapter 201, Board of Health, Article 10, Model Floor Drains. In addition, if dumpsters are proposed as part of the project, they must comply with the requirements of the Town of Chelmsford general provision. Chapter 201, Board of Health, Article 5, Commercial Refuge Dumpster Collection, Licensing, and Operation. Respectfully, Donna Greenwood. All right, Public Works Department. The engineering department has performed a review of the site plan and special permit proposal applications submitted for applicants. The following contains the submissions were reviewed for appropriateness, method, and accuracy, as well as compliance with the Town of Chelmsford Stormwater Bylaws, Town of Chelmsford Stormwater Management Regulation, Division 3, Sewer Capacity and Connection Restriction. Site plan and special permit proposal application entitled 91 Tingsborough Road applicant package. Engineering plans entitled 91 Tingsborough Road Commercial and Site Redevelopment Plan Set. Engineering report entitled Supplemental Stormwater Report 91 Tingsborough Road, Chelmsford, Mass. And the architectural design entitled Architectural Design Documents Jerry Daly and Sons of 91 Tingsborough Road. So the site plan review. Outstanding with the DPW engineering issues that were not addressed. During construction should be taken to maintain separation of at least 10 feet horizontally from the edge of the sewer services to the edge of the water services. Where horizontal separation of 10 feet is not practical, both services can be installed closer to each other, but the water service must be 18 inches higher than the sewer service per DEP standards. Confirm at least 10 feet of separation between sewer and water from subsurface infiltration system. All existing or proposed utilities should be clearly and accurately labeled, size, materials existing, proposed rims, inverts, etc. On the drawing, reflecting the most up-to-date utility connections and sizing. Include cut and fill calculations, include gutter grades and spot grades on site plans. Plans should be resubmitted so that all callouts can clearly be read on page 4 and 5. Several callouts are overlaid. Sewer comments. No increase to the Town of Chelmsford sewer infrastructure should be more than 500 gallons per day. The applicant should analyze sewer flow using Title V and propose conditions to determine required sewer allocations. This should be submitted to DPW for approval. For existing sewer connections, if there is a change in use or expansion, the applicant should submit necessary floor plans and seating plans to supplement the sewer allocation calculations. Clarification required. Confirm that there will be floor drains from the garage and their proposed connection. MDC separators for commercial overhead garage doors. Clarification required for connections from force main to existing sewer connections. Check valves should be included. Information on grinder pumps and manufacturing can be found on the Chelmsford Sewer Department's website, as grinder pumps and force mains will privately be owned. Confirm location for backup power and pump systems. Sewer manholes should be located at the property line for commercial sewer services. Sewer pumps for elevators is not permitted to connect to the sewer system and must discharge into storm system. Coordinate with the DPW prior to construction to ensure this requirement can be met is required. Recommendation for stormwater management condition. Ownership as well as OMM of all stormwater systems and BMPs should be clearly stated on the plans to avoid confusion in future regarding responsibilities of the stormwater management facilities. The deed or the covenant should be clearly specify the homeowners or association of property owners whom shall be responsible for owning the systems, as well as inspections and maintenance schedules. It is the owner's responsibility to provide complete annual compliance records for the engineering department at 9 Alpha Road. Update narrative to further discuss low-impact development techniques and why they are not pursued for this project. The project stormwater management system shall comply with the Department of Environmental Protection stormwater management policy. Stormwater Standard 1, untreated discharge, the standards have been met. Stormwater Standard 2, peak rate control and flood prevention. Utilize 24-hour rainfall data taken from the most recent version of the NOAA 14 storms. Stormwater Standard 3, recharge to groundwater. For each of the NRCS hydraulic groups on the site, the required recharge and volume equals the recharge volume set forth by multiplied by the total area within the NRCS hydraulic group that is impervious. Test pits must be in recharge areas and witnessed by DPW representatives. Confirm groundwater separation from bottom of subsurface infiltration systems. Part of the notes regarding the subsurface infiltration systems are not covered on sheets 4 of 5. Standard, Stormwater Standard 4, 80% TSS removal. Per Town of Chelmsford Stormwater Management Regulations, stormwater management systems on new developments shall be designed to meet an average annual pollutant removal equivalent to 90% of the average annual load of total suspended soils related to the total post-construction impervious area and the site, and 60% of the average annual load of total phosphorus related to the total post-construction impervious surface area on the site. Stormwater Standard 5, higher potential pollutant loads, standards have been met. Stormwater Standard 6, critical areas, standards have been met. Stormwater Standard 7, redevelopment projects. Project is not considered a redevelopment project as there is no net increase in impervious area. Stormwater Standard 8, the erosion and sediment control. Erosion control devices must retain the sediment on site. All downgrading areas impacted by the project must be protected. These must be installed prior to any work or demolition. Stormwater Standard 9, operation and maintenance. Confirm responsible parties for grass channel post-development. Deep sump catch basins shall be inspected and cleaned 4 times per year. Stormwater Standard 10, illicit discharge, standards have been met. Recommended general conditions for approval. All materials within the...
Marcy, just to interrupt you, you can say for this one that they're all their standard conditions.
All right, all standard conditions. We're done with them. The fire department. Dear members of the board, regarding the special permit request for 901 Tingsborough Road, this office offers the following comments. Site access, truck turning plans are to be submitted to this office for review to determine access for the new proposed structure. Building numbering, applicant is to submit to the town E911 committee for the numbering purpose. Building constructions, all construction is to be reviewed as part of the building permitted process. All applicable codes, including but not limited to pertinent NFPA standards, MA Building Code, and Town of Chelmsford bylaws to be followed. We ask that this letter be incorporated into the public records and made part of your decision-making product. Josh Abbott, Captain of the Fire. Let's see, next one we have is from the town engineer. The following plans for the above referenced public hearing are being submitted for your review. 91 Tingsborough Road. Gerald J. Daly and Tina Daly, trustees of Matty K. Realty Trust, requiring special permit site plan review per the Community Enhancement Investment Overlay District.
Marcy?
Yep,
That's the letter to the department.
that's,
What's on there?
oh, it's just signed.
It's conservation, I just read what's
Okay,
highlighted.
all right. The project is located in the 100-year floodplain, so will require notice of intent filing with the Conservation Commission. All right. This one is from Dear Attorney Flood. Should the planning board approve the new construction proposal by your client at the above subjected address under Article 21 COD Community Enhancement Investment Overlay District, the new construction shall comply with the current building code, specifically flood hazard area, flood resistance construction in its entirety, energy code, and for any other applicable amendments and adoptions per the site of Massachusetts Code. Also, any other zoning bylaws not noted in this letter can be discovered in further determinations. Any questions or comments? Any other concerns, do not hesitate to call me, Jose Nagiro. This one is from the town engineer, and it's just signed.
No,
Nothing in
that's-
yellow.
That's police.
Oh,
That's police.
No concern.
Oh, police, no concerns, sorry, I read the wrong thing. No concerns from the tax collector. No concerns from Chelmsford Water. And that's it.
Okay. Evan, do you have any other things to add?
Just quickly, as conservation indicated, and as the applicant has indicated in their submission, this project is within the floodplain. As a COID project, the planning board would take over as a special permit granting authority for the floodplain special permit, which is normally granted by the zoning board. As part of that, as you may have noticed, the DPW did not appear to do a specific review for the floodplain. And I am, as the town's floodplain administrator, I'm bound to ensure that the applicant submits a certification from the registered professional that shows that there'll be no rise in the base flood elevation when development takes. Have you submitted?
What do you mean by a hydraulic and a H&H analysis?
So it's a hydrologic, and a hydraulic analysis, referred to as H&H analysis. I can work with you offline, but this is based upon the 2020 Mass State Model,
Okay.
which was adopted by the town in 2024. So I'll work with you offline on that. Once that information is submitted, we'll ask DPW to do a floodplain review. They'll do that on behalf of the planning board and the commission. If you recall, we had once recently, I think, at Fort Paylette went through a similar process. I don't know if Fort Paylette was held to the new standard or not, but it is a fairly new standard. So again, just as the town's floodplain administrator, it's my responsibility to ensure that we have at a minimum, the certification, and then the backup material to support that certification from you.
And that doesn't take the place of the NOI from Concom, right?
It does not.
Okay. So that's in addition to,
Correct.
okay.
All right, so that's all I have.
Okay. All right. Anything else to add related to those letters? I know you mentioned that earlier that there'd be no major issues with them.
Well, we received the comments today.
Okay.
I'll meet with the town engineer. I'll meet with Mr. Belansky in the fire department to address those specific concerns pertaining to those comments, to make sure that those are addressed. And then we'll also be filing a notice of intent with the Conservation Commission.
Okay, thank you. All right, I will take it around the board for questions. Mike?
Other than the, getting the paperwork right on the stormwater and the floodplain, looks pretty straightforward.
John, any questions?
No questions at this time.
Anita?
My only question is, they indicated that we're not cutting down any trees, and I just did a quick Google Zoom, right? And I know these are old pictures, but there are a couple of trees to the left, like full-grown trees. Are they still there? And I just
Yes.
wanted to confirm that we're not cutting those down.
We're not cutting those down, and those trees are on the town of Chelmsford's property.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Deirdre?
Am I correct, you have not been before Concom, correct?
That's correct.
I have nothing else.
Marcy?
No, nothing.
Evan, is Joel on Zoom?
Joel is on.
Joel, do you have any questions?
Joel, can you hear us?
You might have his mute.
I don't think he can hear us.
We can't hear him. That I can say.
We put up a sign.
Joel, if you can hear us, blink 3 times.
All right. We'll come back to Joel. I've got a couple questions and comments. I noticed that the architectural drawings and the site plan are reversed from each other. I mentioned this at the overlay meeting. If you could correct that?
When we were here at the last meeting, you did ask us to correct that or asked us to address it. We reached out to the architect several times. We could not get a hold of the architect, but we will, if you make that a condition of approval, we will actively get revised plans. We do realize that we couldn't, he never answered our phone calls.
Yeah, this is very unusual. The architect is not to be found right now. So what I would recommend, presuming that this project ultimately gets approved in the end, we're gonna hire a new architect to do construction drawings for the building. And then we can submit those newly prepared drawings to the planning board for review if the planning board deems that that's a significant change from what we have before you, which is just a reversal of the area that extends from the end of the building, which is a small architectural element.
Well, typically I like to see those ahead of any approval because it will help to visualize what it is we're approving. While the plans do provide some indication, without those elevations and positioning of the dumpster, it's really hard to visualize what we're approving. So I would like to see them sooner than after the approval.
We will do that then.
Thank you. The other thing I wanted to mention is the snow storage. So the fence on that side, is that already there?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And what's the width of the landscaping between the fence and the edge of the pavement? Roughly
I believe it's 5 feet.
5 feet? If there's any way to move the snow storage to the opposite side, because there's a lot of land over there, and not put snow storage there, because if you pile up snow, especially if that's a vinyl fence, it will likely collapse in the cold. So if you're able to move the snow storage from that side to the opposite side of the
So
property.
we have it on both sides on the plan.
Mm-hmm.
But we can inform the, we can change it on the plan.
I would like there
So-
to be no snow storage next to that fence. Because there's plenty of room on the other side to put it. And then the other thing is, it'd be nice if there was a little bit more landscaping in that front part between the neighboring house and the, that area. Maybe a couple more arborvitaes, if you can fit them.
Sure, we can add two
Okay.
more arborvitaes.
Sure.
Okay.
Just to make it a little bit more of a screening. And then I just wanted to confirm that that turn towards the dumpster is going to be accessible by I'm assuming a dump truck or a trash truck that collects dumpsters. If there were cars parked on that side, I'm assuming that you guys have done some measurements on whether a trash truck could actually get in there if there are vans parked there.
Mhm.
It'd just be good to have some confirmation of that.
Yeah, we can show you how that maneuverability is performed.
Thank you, that'd be good. Joel, are you able to hear us now?
I am, thank you.
All right. Do you have any questions or comments?
No, I think you covered it pretty well.
Okay. All right. Anything else to add before we go to the public comment?
No.
Okay. So at this point, if there's any member of the public who wishes to speak related to this public hearing, please come forward. No one in person? Anyone on Zoom? Okay. So I think there are a few things that still have to be addressed, so I will entertain a motion to continue.
Which I will make. What date do we want to continue to?
Do you think things would be far enough along in 2 weeks, or should we
When's the Concom?
push it out?
We should push it out a month.
A month? Okay. All right, so what's our first meeting in August?
August 12th.
12th.
All right. Move to continue to August 12th.
Motion by Mike, second by Marcy, and we do need to do roll calls tonight because Joel is on Zoom. Mike?
Aye.
John?
Aye?
Anita?
Aye.
Deirdre?
Aye.
Marcy?
Aye.
John, Joel?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. So continue to August 12th.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next item on the agenda is 210 Boston Road. So Evan, if you could bring up version 2 of the presentation. So to give some background on this, this is a CBLT rezoning proposal. Like all of the other CBLT zoning that we're proposing, we're following the same process where we do an informal meeting with inviting residents and business owners who are impacted. We discuss it, give our proposal, get input and feedback from the residents, which is the stage we're at for the Riverneck proposal as well. Once we have some meetings, informal discussions, then the next step would be the public hearings, the official public hearings, which will have abutter notifications going out again, and those will likely be in August. And then the next stage is preparation for town meeting in the fall. And because of timing and when our articles and drafts need to be into the select board for the warrant, unfortunately, we have to do this timing. Unfortunately, for zoning, for either the fall or the Springtown meeting, the timing is very difficult because for the Springtown meeting, we have holidays to contend with, and for the Fall Town meeting, we have the summer to contend with. So it's unfortunate. But that's why we're adding this additional step in for the residential, or for the discussions. So our CBLT zoning has been typically used for zoning conflicts in town. We also are looking to use it for level setting some of the zoning that we have on the ground, and taking this opportunity to adjust some of the zoning that we have in town in areas that need adjustment. This specific area came to us because the strip mall that is located at 210 Boston Road, the owner of that strip mall approached us because they want to have a coffee shop added to that strip mall. There's also a pizza place in that strip mall now. What we realized in looking at the zoning is that the current CA zone does not allow restaurants. And so the planning board looked at possible options to look at. One option was to add restaurants as a use under CA. Another option is to look at rezoning it. And looking at what uses are allowed in CBLT and what uses are on the ground in that area, the planning board felt that the best option to move forward with for this area was to look at rezoning it to CBLT. If we were to take the opposite approach, it would likely be a more lengthy and more impactful change that we would have to look at other CA commercial areas in other parts of town and see how this change would impact those areas as well. So this is the step that the planning board chose to look at advancing. So that's where we're at. I do want to talk a little bit in summary about the CBLT. We do have the CBLT zoning handout attached to this agenda item. And that shows the differences in uses that are allowed in the CBLT compared to other CB and IA zones that we're using this for. It's a solution that we're looking at using for some of the zoning conflicts in town, as well as some of the transition areas as well. And like I said, this is an area that we felt would solve a lot of the problems with current uses that are non-conforming in that area, as well as new uses that are not allowed in that area. Could you go to the next slide? So this is a slide that we used at the town meeting to summarize what the CBLT zone changes. It is a new zoning district. The use table, it had been updated. It does have its own set of dimensional requirements for both the SEAD overlay and the new zone itself. It updates the property lines, the street frontage, and does allow ultralight manufacturing as well. So this is the map of the current parcels and how they're zoned. We have a mix of CA and public surrounded by residential. And so what we looked at is that entire CA area. One of the things we want to try not to do as a zoning board is to rezone one parcel. That's not good zoning practice. It's typically considered spot zoning. So we really want to look at a larger area to rezone. And so what we're also noticing is that the CA zone also bleeds into some residential properties as well. So there are some properties surrounding the core CA zone that are mixed zone, and that's typically not a good zoning practice as well. If you notice, the core CA properties also have tails on it that have residential portions as well. So what we're looking to do is clean up this zone to change the properties that I've noted here to CBLT to allow the current uses by right, as well as allow some additional uses that people may want to see in that space, like restaurants and ultralight manufacturing and things of that nature. It also opens up additional retail opportunities as well. We also are looking to clean up those mixed zone properties. So the CBLT properties would be completely rezoned CBLT, and then the residential properties surrounding it would be only residential. And then the next slide is a summary of the properties, what they are now and what they are being proposed to be changed to. Are there any other members of the board that have anything else to add before we open it up? Okay. So at this point, I would like to invite any members of the public who would like to ask us any questions about this area, have any comments about it, provide input, feedback that we can look at incorporating into this proposal.
Hi, my name's Annette Bianchi, and I'm a direct abutter of this property at 35 Mill Road. I'm new to finding out about this, so I'm really not sure what it's all about. I just wanted to find out a little more. My concern is more like pollution, running cars, Definitely an influx of more cars. We already have major cut-throughs through there all the time. Concerned if it's going to have a drive-through, and if so, where that would be, and hopefully not my backyard. So, yeah, so if I could just get a little more clarification, if you know at this point what they're thinking about?
Sure. The zoning that we're proposing does not have any specific projects in mind. The mall, the strip mall owner that approached us does have a proposed coffee shop in mind. Don't know what specific company it is, but the current zoning does not allow restaurants. So the pizza place that is in there now is essentially non-conforming, and then the coffee shop would not be allowed as well.
Right.
In our CBLT zone, drive-throughs are not allowed. It would only be a small restaurant that would be able to be going in there.
And they're looking to put this actually in the mall, not on the grass area?
Correct.
Okay.
It would be a tenant within that mall that
Okay.
they have in mind.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Mhm.
Good evening. My name's Robert Harvey. And what I have in question is, I have a piece of land that,
You can go up.
You can go ahead.
You can go up to the microphone, please.
it's gotta go, it is?
No,
Yeah,
the
right.
podium.
No, he wants to go and point
Oh,
something
you
out
want
now.
to, okay.
Yeah, yeah. Now, I was a little mixed up about the way this is. I didn't even know what my own piece of land was. And then, of course, when I saw the Boston Road, but I have a piece of, I own a piece of land which is called Boston Road property. It's 4.45 acres, and a piece of it is CA. And the CA part of it abuts the rest of my land. I have a total of 8 acres, 2 different parcels, but they're side by side.
Are you the parcel down there on the bottom
I think it's here.
with the small strip of CA?
I'm not sure, I'm really not sure. Here, let me just, that's Boston Road. But they're not showing Hazen Street. That's kind of.
Well, Hazen Street's, right where Evan's Arrow was. No, Evan, right on the line where the brown
Yeah,
is.
right here?
Yeah, that's Hazen
Okay.
Street.
Then this would be, I think this would all be mine right here. I'm not positive of this whole thing here is, but we run a construction company. My grandfather bought this property in 1923, so I'm still there on the property. And I run my business out of here. And I run my business on the CA part. I just wanna know, it doesn't sound to me like any of this is gonna affect what I do. That's all I really care about. You know, and as far as not being a butter, but kind of I am, except for Boston Road being in the way. The plaza is, it's not really enough over there. You know, and I see the guy, I never met the man that just bought it, but I can see where you're kind of coming from, but that plaza, the biggest problem, if I own that property, it's cut through big time, from Boston Road to Mill Road. You know, everybody's cutting through there all the time. But, there's no sense in me wasting a lot of your time, I just wanted to verify that. I don't want somebody to turn around and say, hey, we've zoned to CBLT, but what you're doing there right now doesn't work well. Just want to make sure that don't happen.
So your property right now is zoned RB.
Yeah, but there's a
Is that, that's
But it's-
little
but
sliver,
part- but
little
this-
sliver is
there's a
CA.
sliver in there
No,
that's commercial.
CA. You look at the
Yes.
zoning.
Yeah.
CA,
Yep, so it's like kind of half.
You own,
What's it-
you own 40 Hazen and this other property that abuts it.
40
Oh, they're
acres,
both 40 Hazen.
3.45 acres.
Yeah.
And then the Boston Road property is 4.45. There's a sliver in there that's commercial. So, I mean, I don't want to see that go bye-bye.
So the,
The property that abuts your single-family home is zoned CA.
But not all of it, though. Just a part of it.
Most of it, it's right
Yeah,
over
it's
here.
most of it.
Well, it kind of,
It's highlighted right there, right?
In blue, it's highlighted.
oh, this is it?
That's it, so that's all CA, right?
That's all
Currently.
CA.
CA, and we're gonna
This
change
is
to
Hazen
CB
Street.
light.
Yep,
Yep.
Okay.
and this is where you live, right down here.
This is where I live here,
Yeah.
okay, now I got you. So, you're telling me that this whole thing,
Everything in orange, that orange is CA, is commercial,
well,
except that little corner that's white. What's that, RB, for some reason?
you're saying, you're talking orange.
So everything that's orange is zone CA currently,
Okay.
and we're changing it to CB light.
Okay, but again, that is not gonna involve, that's not gonna,
Impact his
hurt what I'm
business.
doing.
No,
So actually,
if anything.
it may make it better, because right now, contractor yards are not allowed in CA.
Yeah,
And
see, that's why I wanted you to know the family history here.
Yeah,
so you're currently in a non-conforming use in CA. In CBLT, we allow indoor,
Indoor contractor.
but not outdoor contractor yards. We are also looking at adjusting the contractor yard definition as part of the other work that we're doing. So that may actually help you even further.
Yeah, in other words, I listened to your
Mhm.
speech there, so you're kinda cleaning up these areas, that,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
what I'm understanding.
Yeah.
Good,
So these changes will likely help you.
good, thank you very much.
yeah, it's the same reason why this person who has this, bought this property, the little strip mall, they have a pizza shop in there, and technically under the CA, they're not supposed to have a pizza
No,
shop,
you
like,
know how long it's been there?
I know,
40
so
years.
it's not like we're trying to get
40
anybody
years.
not to have their business, we just wanna, like, make sure that things are zoned correctly, so,
Has anybody ever approached, would have been maybe a long time ago, Leo Khan from Purity Supreme, he bought that plaza. That land was all farm, so then it would have been rezoned to CA. But all these years, and the pizza place has been there 40 years,
and then technically shouldn't,
they
right,
can't be there.
yeah, so, again, we're just trying to
Fine line,
fix,
because, if there's no seats in there, well, I think that goes under maybe a different jurisdiction, but there
Yeah.
is, like, the people that own it, I know them well, I know when they came, I know the guy
yeah.
before him, but I hope everything is good, and then people are able to stay there, because that's their livelihood.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
what-
no, our goal is not to, like,
Yeah.
kick out any businesses, or, just like, it's, our goal is to just make sure it's zoned appropriately, so there's no problem in the future should something happen.
And any business that's already in place, even if we do rezone it and they're not allowed in that zone, it will be a pre-existing non-conforming business. So they'll still be allowed to stay there, they'll still be allowed to do business.
The grandfather.
Yeah, the grandfather did.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening.
Thanks.
You too. Any other members of the public wish to speak?
Again, Brian Latina, 15 Jesse Road, Town Meeting Rep, Precinct 9. When you change the zoning from where there's non-conforming today, does the business that's there, can they sell it to someone else? Can they add to it, or is that would that be a challenge?
So, correct me if I'm wrong, Evan, but if the use does not change and they sell it, that will continue to be allowed. Expanding the current use is not allowed for non-conforming without a variance. Thank you.
So they could still get a variance. My concern, there was a gas station there in the 1960s, and now it's a shop, pretty active one, probably the best truck shop you could stop at if you ever need work done. But if he wanted to expand his building and put a couple more bays in there, or He's an expert in electric vehicles too, if he wanted to put in a charging station there. Technically, it says you can't put in a fueling station, but given all the electric motor bikes and stuff, I guess they're not called motorcycles because they have an electric motor on them and the kids drive them on the sidewalk and everything else. Is that a fueling station if you put electric charging stations at what used to be a gas station?
No,
Don't think so.
that's a charging station.
Yeah.
So you could do something like that.
Mhm.
Okay.
And I just looked it up to confirm, but that, that general auto body repair shop is not allowed
Not
to use.
conforming now,
Yeah.
Yep.
So it would still remain non-conforming.
non-conforming.
Mhm.
Okay. So he doesn't lose access to it or, and again, additional building on it. He'd have to come to planning board anyway,
Mhm.
but you're not going to say, sorry, it's not zoned for that. You can't add to your.
Well, it would go before the ZBA, I
Yeah,
believe.
variance and
It would be a special permit.
special
Yeah,
permit.
special permit to the ZBA.
Commercial goes to planning board.
Okay, so it would come to us.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Yep. Any other members of the public wish to speak? All right. So in that case, I think I would like to continue this one more meeting, just to make sure that we've got everything ironed out. And then we will add it to the list of public hearings that we're doing in August.
Right. Can I make one comment?
Sure.
I noticed that there are a couple of little triangles of land. For example, there's a small, yeah, go back there. There's a small RB chunk on this gentleman's land, and there is
But I
a
think when we
CA
did it-
chunk in the RB.
So this is the proposed.
Yeah, but
Below.
we changed it, those chunks have been moved to CBLT.
Okay,
So those will
I
be
just want to
rezoned
make
as
sure
well.
Now we're
that
going over
we
like
achieve
the-
consistency there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
No point in splitting lots.
Now they're all
correct.
going back into like,
Yeah.
it's gonna match
Yeah.
the rest of it.
Okay, sounds good.
Yep.
So, you need a motion to continue?
Yeah,
What, when are we going to continue this to?
next meeting.
Okay, I move that we continue this discussion to the next meeting.
Second.
Motion by Mike, second by Marcy, and roll call. Mike?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Anita?
Aye.
Deirdre?
Aye.
Marcy?
Aye.
Joel?
Aye.
And I am an aye.
Good.
All right, we'll continue the neighborhood discussion till next meeting, when we will probably close it and then move to a public hearing in August. Thank you, everyone. All right, next item on the agenda is the Riverneck neighborhood meeting. Did you want to review these, or?
Okay.
Okay. All right. So, made some minor updates to the slides that we can go through. I can find my notes. Give me 1 second. Okay. Before we get to that, I just wanted to actually outline how I think I want to do this meeting tonight. So I will outline the decisions we need to make tonight. I will point them out on the slides. And then I will allow public comment for about 2 minutes each person to give any final thoughts. At that point, we will bring it back to the board for discussion and a vote on each of the things that we have to discuss tonight. We spent a ton of time on this. We've gathered a ton of input. So I do want to wrap up this one tonight so that we can make any necessary changes and bring it to public hearing in August. So the decisions we have to review tonight, there's 6 of them. There's the 128 Riverneck property, the 101 Riverneck property, 127 Riverneck property, the 5-acre property on Riverneck, the Monmouth parcel, and then RC versus RB for Monmouth and McFarland. So those are the 6 decisions we need to make. All right. So given that, let me go through the slides and we will point them out. So on the 3rd slide, Evan, that is the first area that we need to consider.
We should number these slides, just an FYI.
Yeah, I noticed that too. So this is the current zoning. And if you go to the next one, I've put question marks on the areas that we need to discuss. So towards the top, we have that 5-acre parcel and the small parcel next to it. On Monmouth, we've got the public versus RB parcel. If you keep scrolling, Evan, 2 more. This is the top of Riverneck, the CBLT versus IA versus residential discussion, and looking at all of those parcels as one to avoid spot zoning. And then down towards the bottom, there's the 128 Riverneck. Those 2 parcels, we had initially marked that as RB and CBLT, but I want to make sure that we are probably zoning them together in concert to avoid the island. Then scroll down 1 more. The utility parcel down at the bottom, we did discuss last time as public. And then in general, the RB versus RC for Monmouth and McFarland. Okay.
I don't know when you want me to, I did want to talk about, me and Evan talked about this yesterday, but I went and met with Jose.
Oh, yeah. You want to talk about that
and
now?
Talk about the FAR calculation. So I kind of went through how they do the FAR calculation, what they use gross versus not gross. So what the building inspector, commissioner, uses is the certified plans from the engineer. So we went back and we looked at some of the FAR calculations that are done by the engineers on their certified plans, which are stamped.
You want to just tell the audience what FAR is?
Florida area ratio.
Thank you, Florida area. So we looked at a couple properties that had come in and what they engineer, and we kind of backed into what they use for calculation, which was something very different. So when it came to, they don't use DEC, so you can't use that gross calculation when you go onto a GIS site, which is what Sean was originally using, was the total number, gross, because that includes decks, porches, garages, basements, and what have you. The basements, per our zoning law, zoning bylaws, you should only include them if they're higher than 7 feet high, right? So like a lot of older houses, that may not be allowed. Now, from our GIS map, you don't really know that, but you have to make an assumption. Even so, the way the engineers are calculating it is whether it's finished or not finished.
Oh.
So they would include a finished basement in the FAR calculation, but not the unfinished part of it.
Irrespective of the dimensional thing above
Right,
7
exactly,
feet.
yes.
Interesting.
So they assume that if it's finished, it has the ceiling height, essentially.
Yes, but like one of them we looked at was like a split level, right? And, split levels, like, why would you include half of it, not the other half, the unfinished part of it?
Yeah.
So, I'm just gonna, yeah, so it didn't include decks, So I haven't gone back and re-looked at all of that, but this also answers the question as to why, because I think someone had mentioned to me, well, when I went and had my addition, my FAR wasn't nearly as close to what this is being calculated at, and now we know why. Not saying it's right or wrong, either we have to fix our definition of FAR, right? Because if all the engineers, and again, these weren't like one engineer, and this engineer was doing it all this way, it was random plans by different firms. So either we have to, so it kind of brings us back to fixing this FAR thing, which I think is a big issue for Sean and the RB versus RC.
So, but when the building inspector reviews a property, what is he using?
He's using the number calculated by
Engineer.
By the
And the
engineer.
engineers are using all different,
They're not, it seems that they're being consistent when it comes to basements, doing finished versus not finished. Like if someone converts their garage and it's a finished garage, right? Like it's now a room versus it used to
Right.
be a garage, that's included. But if it's a garage, it's not included.
oh, okay.
And they're using information that's not readily available on the GIS
Right.
cards.
Right, they're going in and actually measuring it.
Right.
Which is why,
There's discrepancies.
like
Yeah.
Jose is actually relying on that because they've had access to it, right? Like
Right.
what's on the GIS, maps are
Estimate.
our estimates are dimensional, but no one's gone in to actually measure, the ceiling
see.
height, right? So that's why he's relying on the engineer.
All right.
That
Thank
makes
you.
sense. That's helpful. Thank you.
This doesn't really solve the problem, but I
Clarifies
think we need to look at FAR.
Yeah.
And add
Yeah,
that
we
to
need to have a clear definition.
clear definition, whether or not we, use it for single families at all. Like, look at what other towns are doing. A lot of towns don't really have for single-family residential, this FAR concept.
Okay.
May want to look at that, so if we can put that on for maybe the next town meeting.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Now, I am going to allow any public comment, input that folks want to provide us. If you want to come up and provide more input and feedback, anything additional that you want to add, feel free to come up.
Hi, Craig Walsh, 140, 128 Neck Road. Could you just go back to the map there of my property? Well, you have my 140 listed as RB, and you're proposing CB Light for my 128 property. Why is that?
Because that's the original discussion that we were having, but tonight I want to make sure that we're considering it as a whole so that we don't create small islands of residential versus CBLT. It's the discussion we were having last meeting with the 5-acre parcel and that small property next to it that's residential.
Correct.
Part of the reason why we can consider it as a whole in CBLT is because we can also look at residential as part of the overlay.
The overlay you were talking about having removed?
Nope, this SAOT overlay.
The SAOT doesn't cover his property.
If it's CBLT, SAOT covers it.
So if we change it to CBLT, then it will be covered over, SAOT would cover it.
Yes.
Got it.
Yes.
I just wanted to make sure. All right, because
Yep. By law, the bylaw says that anything commercial,
is covered by.
Covered by the SAOT.
Okay.
Okay, and you mentioned to the last people that were here that their property would stay CB Light, non-conforming.
Yep.
For as long as it was continuing the same business.
Correct.
Now, if he sells the property, does it stay with it?
Yes. So as long as the use continues, it remains pre-existing non-conforming.
Okay, but I thought there was a 2-year window there, that after 2 years, now it reverts back to only CB Light.
If the use is, and Evan can help with the nuances, if the use is abandoned for 2 years, it does revert.
Okay.
And Evan, do you want to give the nuances of the abandonment?
Yeah, I mean, abandonment means that you voluntarily cease the operations in totality.
And you're not marketing it as the same use, you're not trying to sell the property as the same use.
Well, I
Completely-
can't sell the property as the same use. is
Oh,
what
you
you're
can.
saying.
You can.
Yeah, you
So
can.
Your existing commercial businesses run with the land. So you can sell them. The new owner can operate them in the same manner and nature.
Okay,
You as the current owner or a future owner as a pre-existing non-conforming use is not allowed to expand or extend the use. So right now, I don't know the legal status of the commercial business. It may be, they may have a use variance, it may just be allowed under IA. If it goes to CB Light, the legal status remains unchanged, but it likely becomes pre-existing non-conforming.
okay.
So again, I just
Seems like a
don't-
lot of,
Yeah, I just don't know the,
I
know
don't
the-
knows at this point in the game.
Until
So,
the town does a full kind of legal review as to what your business is and what it isn't. I don't know if it's retail sales, I don't know if it's repair, I don't know if it has a limitation on number of vehicles associated with the business. All of those criteria are used to make a use classification. So in the most simplistic form, you're currently IA.
correct.
Retail sales are not permitted in the IA, but your business dates back decades and decades. So it may have received a use variance 30, 40, 50 years ago. If it hasn't received a use variance, it's likely just pre-existing non-conforming, like many businesses in town are.
Okay. And what about just leaving our area on that side of the highway, IA? You had talked about before that you wanted to slow the traffic down, everything. We have basically 4 lanes in front of my house. That's part of the state highway that runs underneath the Lowell Connector and over Route 3. We're not a residential road per statute of what they call a residential street by the number of houses. It's not limited to truck traffic by weights or anything like that. So I think it'd be in our best interest if we just left IA alone where it is. And, I understand what you're trying to do with the neighborhoods. You don't want certain things going in the neighborhoods. But the people up on Monmouth Street and McFarland Road, none of them are here, and I don't think they understand what you're trying to take away from them. Like, even if you gave them RC, they would have a little more, they'd have a little bit more of their by right to stay with RC. Right now, you just make them RB, and there's nothing else they can do with their property.
That's
That's all I'm
not
saying.
true at all. So, a couple of clarifications. You have 2 lanes on that road. It's not 4. Those are breakdown lanes.
I'm just talking about the width of it. It's not like Linwood Street where it's a
The
30-foot width.
the other point I want to make is that keeping it IA is not on the table for this board. We have run into too many problems with that street at both ends being completely residential and very narrow and winding. While your section is pretty wide under the highways, it is winding, narrow on both sides, and there is no access in and out other than those 2 directions. And we've had multiple projects come before us with issues related to uses for IA. And that's what we're trying to fix.
Well, I think the one
And-
instance you're talking about is the Amazon warehouse.
No,
There
and
are many.
in all fairness, no one's ever complained about your business. I live in East Chelmsford. I drive by your house
I've
a
never
million
had any
times.
I've never had any complaints
No,
about
no.
my business, and I'm
No
not looking
one's-
for complaints
no,
about my
and
business.
we wouldn't, and that's not our intent here, is to change your businesses that you have there. That's why we're proposing CB Light, because it allows you to continue with your business and go on.
It allows me to continue with my
Yes.
business, but once I no longer want to continue with my business, then now I'm limited to CB Light instead of IA, where I've
Right,
been my
which is
whole life.
not
No,
appropriate.
that's not true. We just explained that if you want to sell your business, you can sell that business. They can continue operating that same type of business, and they continue the pre-existing non-conforming. The use and the designation follow the land, not the ownership.
Okay. So it sounds like the board's already made up their mind that they're getting rid of IA altogether. Is that where I'm
That is,
seeing
well,
this?
that's what we've decided to propose, yes.
Okay.
It's town meeting that needs to make the ultimate
I
decision.
understand that. I
But
understand.
yes, that is
Okay.
what we're proposing.
Yep. And I'd like to have my 140 property, not spot zoned, like to have that in the same zone as my 127 property.
Okay.
Yep, thank
Thank
you.
Hi, Lori Kinney, 127 River Neck. Last meeting, you guys said you were going to talk to the town about the building. Were you able to do that, town committee? There was some questions that you had, so I wanted to see if you had cleared them up.
What, I think the question was what they were, their use, because of the, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm right, they had office versus
Or warehouse.
warehouse versus, you also had some offices?
There is minimal offices, but
Offices.
yes, it's majority warehouse.
Yeah, so I mean, it's the similar thing that Evan talked about with the other property. Until the town goes and does a more deep dive analysis of the business, we have to make
But
assumptions.
my business is renting the property. So what's in there today might not be in there tomorrow. It hasn't been in there for the past couple years. So what you guys are proposing is if I sell the property, that they can continue to use, if I sell the business, they can continue to use it, but I'm not selling the business, I would be selling the building. If I go to sell the building, that's non-conforming, which they're not gonna be able to get a loan, they're not gonna be able to get insurance, so it completely destroys everything that my family.
No, that's not
That's
how
not
that
true.
works. That's not how it works.
I
And
looked into it, that is how it works.
And the uses in those units is what's considered. So as long as those uses remain constant and continue, then it regardless if you own it, if you sell it to someone else, as long as those uses continue, it's fine.
And you're using the building,
So-
so when someone wants to buy the building to rent it out, just how insurance works, what they're insuring is the structure.
Okay,
So
I'll get more
if-
data on
so-
that.
So if it gets, like, a fire comes in, destroys it to the ground, they will insure it to rebuild it as it is, which is what it is now, which is conforming now, because it's a
Right, so you're
structure.
gonna change it, and day one, it's gonna be non-conforming,
Not
which doesn't make
necessarily.
sense, because the whole point of planning land is based on the land in the building. So day one, you guys change it to CBLT, it's already non-conforming. I don't understand why we have had no issues. There's no traffic issues. You want me to put a CBLT business in there? I will. It's going to create hundreds of more cars coming down the road than what is there right now. You're trying to change something that has been there for 40 years. We're not trying to rebuild. We're not trying to add. We're not trying to do anything. It's been there. It's been working, and you're trying to change based on what it's been. It doesn't make any sense to me.
And I ask you, the business that has the buses and limousines there,
Yes.
what is that business?
It's part of the party rental, but we haven't had party rental in there previously. It's always been warehousing. It just so happens that the building was empty for a while. They came in as a tenant, and we're going to accept them. We're not going to not accept them. But what if next year or the end of this year when they decide their lease is up and we put warehousing back in there?
The party rental, and based on Evan's opinion, my opinion, and I believe Jose also weighed in on this as well. The party rental use is a retail type use. It is not a warehouse use.
All of their supplies and tents, if you go in there, it's used as a warehouse. No one's going in there personally. It's not a retail business as they're going in there personally to rent. There's no retail front there. It's warehousing all of their equipment. How is that not warehouse
Our
use?
definition of warehousing, it does not fit that business.
Correct. So that's you just said my issue then, because if I put another tenant in there at the end of this year and it goes from IA to CBLT, then I'm non-conforming. That's my point. It's my point since
If you
last
put
week.
another business in there that is warehouse,
Correct.
that in CBLT would be non-conforming.
That's what I've been saying.
But your current business under IA is non-conforming.
Okay.
So you're non-conforming currently in both cases.
You're not conforming to either
My
zone.
concern is when I go to sell the property, it is going to be an issue.
I don't believe it will be.
I don't think it will be, because the building itself is so big, like, there's only so much you can do with it.
You've
to
been
begin
inside
with.
the building?
I drive by it, been driving by it for 40 years.
Okay, you've been inside it?
No, but
So do you know what it looks like inside? You know how people would use it inside? That's what I'm talking about. It doesn't matter what it
Tony,
looks
it's
like on the outside.
My professional experience, I can make that assessment. Thank you. That being said, even, I just don't see this being an issue from a future, and I understand it's something different, and people don't like things that change, and you always automatically, it's just, you always go down that path. I get that. I totally understand that.
It's
and
not changed. There used to be a house on that property. We tore it down. The town wanted us to put this building in. My family put this building in. We spend taxes on the building. They wanted this building.
We
And so now you
actually
guys are
have-
saying that all of a sudden we can't have it the way it was zoned. Like, that's the way
No,
what people are
we
relying on.
actually have no issue with how the building is being used. The issue that we have with keeping IA in this area is all of the other possible uses that can be put in when you do sell it, if you ever do sell it. And that is the issue that we've been facing time and time again in this area, is the current uses are fine for that area. It's what's happening is when those properties are being sold, the IA district allows so many more uses that are detrimental to that area. And that's what we're trying to address.
You've already said yourself that we can't expand or do any much more with the property based on the size it is, so I couldn't see possibly what we could put in there that would be detrimental. It's not
Well,
like we're adding in.
So if someone were to buy your property, then buy the property next door to it, then something else could come in, and that's where it begins to get detrimental. That's what's happened with the old Mercury buildings, and that's why we're looking at all the zoning across all the town.
It's, in this case, it's more about intensity. You're using the building low intensity,
Correct.
but there's nothing legally preventing under IA zoning for you to bring in a business that uses the same exact square footage, but has much more high-intensity trucking, or convert the building to a contractor condo. Same exact square footage, but some of those IA uses are much more truck-intensive and impactful to the neighborhood in the roadways. So I think that's to my understanding, that's really what the planning board is trying to articulate. There's so many unknown opportunities within IA that the community and the board has determined to be detrimental. Converting this from IA to CB Light is a legal mechanism via zoning to eliminate those unknowns that no one wants.
And it also opens up new opportunities for other businesses and types of uses for your buildings that
For
aren't
things
allowed
that
in
create
IA.
more traffic, though. I thought the whole point was
And-
not to create more traffic on the road.
No, the issue that we're facing is the heavy truck traffic. The volume of cars is concerning across all of town, but if those Mercury office buildings, for example, were fully occupied, there would be heavy car traffic on that road. That road can handle increased car traffic. And that's what we're trying to balance here, is uses that may increase car traffic, yes, and we understand that, but it also will limit the heavy truck traffic that we're seeing to be incredibly detrimental to the residential areas on both sides of River Neck.
And across town.
Yeah.
I mean, you just need to look at North Chelmsford with the
And then
asphalt plant.
just back to your comment on financing or insurance. There's dozens and dozens of properties in town that are in your same exact situation. Current zoning, they're pre-existing non-conforming. The planning board's gone through major rezonings in the last couple of years, similar to this. We have not received any feedback directly from property owners saying that they, due to a zoning change, they were not able to get financing or insurance. It may change, but we haven't heard anything about not being able to make a transaction of that nature.
But it's against the law, like, it's against Massachusetts state law, because it's the whole grandfathering, right? Like, because otherwise, I would say 75% of the town is non-conforming. I'm non-conforming on my property. So what you would be saying is, I couldn't get a mortgage for my house? Of course you can.
It's
not
different with a
conforming.
commercial property of this
I
size.
understand that, but
They will require, because we routinely are requested for a zoning determination letter. And as I mentioned, the town routinely issues those on a weekly basis for these business transactions. And so your letter would say, yep, the property is pre-existing non-conforming. And then, you know, the attorneys involved, at least in Massachusetts, fully understand what that means. The existing businesses are allowed to continue, and when they cease for a period of 2 or more years, then they lose their protection, their protected grandfathering.
Okay. I'd still oppose the CBLT. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other members of the public? Anyone on Zoom?
We don't see anybody who's interested in speaking.
All right, so at this point, we will go over each of the topics that we have to decide on.
nope, is that somebody?
Yep.
AJ, yep, is that you?
Yep. Yeah, this is AJ 195 Riverneck.
Yes.
I also am opposed to the whole CB, changing the zoning from the CB light. And I just kind of wanted to know if the board had ever thought of taking a different approach as far as any of the IA zones that are abutting actual residential homes and changing those to CB light as opposed to all of Riverneck, as well as if there was any studies that kind of showed what kind of impact this is going to have on these owners who've had IA for as long as they've had.
So the CB Light zone did start out as a way to buffer the IA zone from residential. We've also seen that this is another use case where essentially we have the same thing, where we are buffering the IA uses away from the residential. Now, in this case, in Riverneck, we have a slightly unique situation because there is no other access to these central properties other than through the residential properties, the residential areas. And so,
And you had mentioned, oh, go ahead.
And so we're proposing that this is one of the solutions, and really the main solution that we have come up with. Another thing to keep in mind is that when we started looking at the zoning conflicts in town, we did work with the area consultant, the NEMCOG, and asked them for a recommendation as to what the solution would be. Their recommendation is to change the entire stretch of Riverneck to residential. Now, we felt that that is a little bit extreme for these properties that are currently IA and are commercial use. So we didn't go in that direction. And this is the solution that we're using to kind of buffer and not impact the property owners as much as we would have had we gone residential.
And I want to take one step further on that. When we first looked at this, we were looking at Kate's Corner, and this came up with, at Kate's Corner, one of the those properties there, you have Lockheed Martin, which is IA, right smack in the middle. We work with them to ensure that those types of businesses, like Lockheed Martin, stay in town, that they employ, citizens of our town. They're good commercial neighbors. They worked very closely with the board. Their attorneys reviewed our zoning.
And the neighbors.
And the neighbors, to come up with this CB Light. In fact, then we got approached in North Chelmsford by a business owner who actually was zoned IA and came to us and asked us if we would zone their area CB Light. So a lot of these larger corporations, frankly, are the ones that would pay a premium for this land, have reached out to us and asked us to change it from IA to CB Light because they found it more beneficial.
AJ, can I ask you, 195 Riverneck, that's the residential home property, correct?
That's the 5-acre wooded lot. 191 is the house.
191, okay.
And as far as the heavy traffic goes, with what you guys are concerned of, is that not the purpose of like site plans and peer reviews and traffic studies that have to be performed prior to getting any additional, if they wanted to add on to something or build something?
It's not the traffic, it's the type of traffic that's going through the neighborhoods.
I said heavy trucks.
Yeah, but it's also the use and the impact of that use. And what we found is that the uses that the industrial zone allows in this area, time and time again, are showing negative impacts to the residential areas of Riverneck. And so that's the issue that we're trying to address. Now, if there was an on-ramp right into this area from the highway or a different access road, it'd be a completely different story.
Different conversation. And again, like some of those high industrial uses, for example, on 129, where it's all industrial, like there is no residential on 129, works. Like that makes sense for there. So we can't keep, like the whole reason why we came up with additional zone was so we can say, okay, this area, which is all industrial, there's on-ramps to Route 3, we can have a little bit more industrial type of businesses. But stuff that has to go through neighborhoods, go through these neighborhoods, like we want something that's less impactful. So you have to kind of split those zones out. We have to say, okay, these are, what's impacting the neighborhood. And this other area is really not impacting, and we can maybe go, a little bit more heavy use and allow for things there. So that's how this all started, and that's why we took, IA, and we did this CB Light. We said, okay, this stuff works. I mean, we've also have a really bad situation in North Chelmsford with the asphalt. I mean, that's a perfect example of those trucks destroying that, neighborhoods. It's just been going on, and that's not even because of Chelmsford, that's because of Westford.
And we're trying to avoid similar situations in this area. And that's the whole point of why we're looking at this area.
And we don't need a traffic study to decide that we don't want big, heavy trucks going through there. We know that, so we're trying to zone it so that doesn't happen. Not that we have to reevaluate and say, nope, too many heavy trucks, nope, too many heavy trucks. We're just trying to zone it so there's not too many heavy trucks.
And we've seen a number of projects come before us with a number of traffic studies for these areas that do show significant impact to the residential areas. So that's another data point that we're using to help us with this.
Okay. Because it is a state road at the end of the day, right? Like trucks can drive up and down that. Like if there was like a construction job going down, towards one side of Riverneck, trucks would be up and down that road. They can travel that road regardless.
Sure, there's no
Okay.
truck restriction.
Right.
Yeah. But we don't want to make it worse by putting heavy trucking right in the middle there.
And as far as the impact that it has on these homeowners, any kind of thought went into that?
Yes, we're trying to maximize the benefits and minimize the negative impacts. And we're
'Cause I'd
trying,
like to see, as far as like a property value thing, what it's worth with IA as far as when you change these to CB Light.
so it depends on when you're looking at the market. If you were looking at the market probably a couple of years ago, warehouses, flex spaces probably would have been a hot commodity, and they actually were.
And it depends on the planning board that you have elected, how, like, it depends on a lot of things.
Yep.
and-
But
and
right
how-
now, the housing market is the hot commodity, and the house values are skyrocketing. So if you do a market study now, you're probably going to see that the residential and commercial spaces are in higher demand than industrial and warehousing.
Correct. But to think that 195 would be an ideal place for residential surrounded by what it would be surrounded by, I don't think is ideal at all.
So another use that the CBLT and overlay allow is multifamily.
Correct.
You could put a multifamily in there. Multifamilies do typically abut commercial in many areas. And so that is another opportunity for that space that would be perfectly aligned with the direction that we're heading.
No, I understand that. I'm saying who would want to live there surrounded by all the IA?
That's actually the point that we're trying to make. No one wants to live there surrounded by IA.
Correct, but all the people who have lived there for X amount of years bought it with Riverneck being what it is, correct? This is all new, changing this?
No, they bought it with Riverneck being, Mercury offices.
It was technically IA zoned, but the uses that were in place were lighter uses and office buildings.
Okay.
So we want the ability to use IA for more heavy types of uses. And places like Riverneck Road, which really were designed at the time for office space, lighter use, to remain that way. And the only way to do that is to create two separate zones. Because not everything fits across all the areas.
Well, I'm opposed to that change, that's all.
Okay,
Okay, thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Any other public comments? Anyone else on Zoom? All right. So at this point, we will go through the areas. And so if you can bring them up on the slides as we go through them and discuss them and vote on them. So the 128 Riverneck space. I'm not doing this in any particular order other than the way I've got them listed on my
Excuse me.
notes.
So this one is whether or not we put that all as CB light or,
Yeah, I think we need to determine, I think we need to figure out if we're putting them both CB light, one CB light, one RB. My thinking is to put them both CB light.
I kind of agree with you there. It's the same property, it's
I'm fine
same
with that.
owner. I don't see the reason to separate the zoning.
Anyone else got thoughts?
I'm in accord with that.
Joel, thoughts?
I agree with Marcy.
All right, unless someone's opposed, then let's take a vote.
We
So-
don't need to, like, we don't need, we can just do a show of hands.
Yeah,
This
show of
isn't a-
hands.
This is not an official vote.
Yeah, it's not an official vote.
Yeah.
So is everyone in favor of going CB Light for these two parcels?
Adopting basically this map.
No,
No,
changing
the
to
RB.
CB Light.
RB, yeah, because
This
I've
one,
got an
yeah,
RB.
CB light. Okay, sorry.
All in favor, raise your hands. Joel's,
Yeah.
yes. All right,
Okay, so
so we'll go with that.
you have the slides now to make these changes?
Yeah.
You have to ungroup some of them?
Yep, I will.
Okay.
All right, next is 101 River Neck area. And which one is 101?
Is that the CB lights that have the question marks?
Yes, I think so.
The ones across from the cemetery?
No, that's at the other end of River Neck. So Evan, if you can go to that slide.
Which one? Yeah.
Yep. So those properties, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 separate properties. So my proposal is to put
this was
all
only
of
just
those
voted
CB Light.
No. Yeah, I'm fine.
The, what I noticed when I did the looking, so the top left one, that's the town of Chelmsford. Technically, should be public.
That little corner?
Yeah,
Oh,
the one with the question mark on it on the left.
oh, the one that's a little bit bigger?
No, up top.
The tiny corner,
No,
tiny
left.
triangle?
That one?
That one.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So that one's the public one. But I think keeping it CB Light,
Doesn't do anything, the town owns it.
yeah, the town owns it, but there's no reason to really protect it. I think keeping it CB Light keeps it more whole. And then the one in front of that is a multifamily, and then the little triangle, I believe, is owned by one of the people who own
Which one is multifamily, Chris?
That one.
that one in the
Oh,
middle.
oh, okay, yeah.
And then the little triangle is owned by one of the owners of that multifamily. It's a multifamily condo. Looks like
Okay.
they've
Excuse me.
bought it to extend their yard. And then the small parcels on the other side. So I propose that we put all of those CB Light. Seeing nods.
Sure.
All in favor of putting all of those CB Light?
Aye.
Okay. 127 River Neck.
So I'm just gonna throw something out there.
Yep.
So it looks like we're keeping everything in this area here is CB light,
Yep.
except those two little houses next to the cemetery. Do we just do this whole section CB light? Because then it's either CB light or it's, owned by the town or the cemetery.
The houses are not, what are the houses?
Hmm?
The three little houses are
Two
what?
little- two
The
little
two little
houses.
houses right before the cemetery.
And what are they gonna be zoned?
Right now, they're listed as RB.
And we're keeping them.
No, right now there's zone IA.
Okay, but we're keeping them RB. We're not making them CB light, or is that what you're
I
proposing?
don't know, do we just make this whole
No.
area?
No, I don't think we should.
No, because I think because it's bounded by public, it's an island anyway.
Yep,
Yeah.
true. It's an island anyway, it's bounded by, that's a good point.
So no matter if we put it CB Light or
Yep.
residential, it's still an island,
Yeah.
no matter what we
Cemetery-
make it.
Cemeteries do make
Let's
the
have
best
it be what
neighbors.
it is on the ground.
Yeah, so, yeah, in that case, I would
Okay,
propose to keep it
just throwing it
RB.
out there, okay.
Okay. So 127 River Neck.
Wait, what about this one?
That's the one we changed to
That we
CB
just
light.
changed CB light. That's Walsh.
Okay, oh, okay.
127 River Neck is the one on the left. I think we've considered that CB light. Anyone not in favor of continuing our path to CB light on that one? Okay, I think everyone's agreed that that continues to be CB light in our proposal. The 5-acre parcel, 195 River Neck. And the small property next to it. So we had talked initially, the small parcel, RB, CB light,
That's the one that next to Mercury,
yes.
the little blue house?
Yep. And then the undeveloped 5-acre parcel next to it. We had talked about RB, we had talked about CB light. My proposal would be to continue with CB light and an overlay with that CB light continuing. And it provides the opportunity for commercial and/or multifamily.
Yeah, I would, you know what else I would like to do in the CB light is add a village to the use table. Add
I'm not sure we want to do that because.
Not right this minute, but
Well, I think also that creates a lot of problems putting a village in a commercial
Okay.
district.
You're right.
I think that's a different solution.
yeah, but I mean, it's like an alternative to multifamily.
It's a different type of, I know what you're saying. And like, they have them in Bedford. Maybe we look at what, Bedford has some of that, like really small, single-family homes, kind of like condominium type. Like it becomes like a condo.
Right, so it's kind of a variation of multifamily that's not a big box.
Yeah. We can look at
Well, it's a
maybe,
variation of mixed use. Variation of mixed use.
That too.
so maybe we look at adjusting the overlay, the say-out overlay.
Yeah.
So we'll put that on the list of things in the future to look at, along with FAR. All right, so 195 and the small parcel,
I'm fine.
CB light.
I'm okay with that.
Joel, you good?
So let me just reiterate, if it's
Yep.
CB light, it's SAYAD, and multifamily's allowed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Yeah, I think keeping that side of the street all CB light in that area is,
That
Yep.
makes sense to me.
it's gonna, it's getting rid of that pocket areas that we're trying to eliminate.
All right. Next up, the Monmouth parcel. Public or RB? The suggestion last meeting was to keep it, or keep the direction public, to provide more protection now until something else is determined later. We could always change it to RB later if needed.
That works for me.
Okay.
I like that idea.
I like that idea.
And I know, Joel, you support that since you're the one that proposed it.
Yes, that is correct.
All right. Now the topic of RC versus RB on Monmouth and McFarland.
RB,
RB, I mean, that's what they are, and I think
yeah.
we just take, I think we need to look at the FAR, if that's the real reason, the concern. And again, I think now knowing how the engineers calculate FAR, and I can I'll relook at those numbers, but using their methodology, that this really wasn't an issue, we just need to fix
Okay.
Fix the file.
our definition of
All
FAR,
right.
or whatever.
So we'll go with RB on that, and commit to looking at FAR in our next round of
Yeah.
zoning updates. Okay. Anyone opposed to that? All right. All right. That brings us to the end of our decisions. So at this point,
Recommendations.
we will close the neighborhood discussion. We'll take a motion to close the neighborhood discussion and move these to a recommendation for public hearing.
Motion to close the discussion and move towards public hearings.
Motion by Marcy, second by Anita. Roll call, Joel?
Yes, you fooled me. I wasn't ready to have my mic.
I figured. Marcy?
Yes.
Keeping you on your
Deirdre?
toes. Yes.
Anita?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
And Mike?
Yep.
And I'm an aye. So it's
Going
unanimous to
backwards
close
this
it.
time
He's really, you know.
He's, really trying to mess all of us
Yes,
up there, Joel,
keeping,
don't worry.
keeping you awake tonight.
He's the only one who has a mic to deal
All
with.
right. Next item, data center zoning.
Oh, God. So I think, for the record, no, Marcy and Joel should tell us how the Lowell meeting went.
Yeah, let's hear about
So yeah,
that.
if you can give us a brief update on the Lowell meeting, and then we can have Joel run through the slides.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I already told me I was gonna have to talk about this one. So both of us went to the Lowell meeting, and they were there pretty much, they spent about 15 minutes sort of giving a presentation on data centers. They talked about some of the same things we were talking about, like the different sizes of the data centers, different concerns that have been brought to their attention, like water uses, electricity, pollution, noise, all those things. Looking at, how do they potentially want to zone areas for data centers, especially because they've got Markley in there, which is one of the biggest data centers in Massachusetts currently in there, and they've been there for about 14 years. So even if they rezone, they're still going to be grandfathered in as non-conforming. So they talked about that, and then they sort of opened it up to the public to come in and speak. And Joel, you can disagree with me or agree, but I kind of feel like the message was sort of lost in the public. They were just there saying we don't want Markley there versus this is what we want to look at for zoning for data centers, because Markley is looking at purchasing some additional property in Lowell to expand on. Yeah.
Oh, God.
One being on Tanner Street. But it was more in the neighborhood that they just don't want a data center. Not that, let's look at how we can zone this to make this sort of work for us, because they're there, that even if if Lowell rezones, it's still gonna be there, as grandfathered in and non-conforming. So, it was interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, so in that sense, it really wasn't super informative for us because it was just basically, we don't like Markley kind of meeting.
Yeah. Well,
pitchforks.
So,
yes.
I mean,
The
pitchforks were out.
The pitchforks were definitely out, yes. And it was very, there were a couple, like the environmental people that were there were like, hey, this would be great if you could use like solar panels to help bring in some green energy. So a couple of people did have some good thoughts on how we can get rid of some of these.
and batteries.
Yeah.
Somebody brought up batteries.
Yep. Instead of like having all this diesel fuel here and all these other things. So there were some people that did come with some good thoughts to it, but it was, as you said, the pitchforks were out. And I know this is going to be the first of quite a few meetings that they're going to have, and hopefully they change the question and answer part of the format so that it's, not past the mic and that gets sort of crazy because people get very upset that they didn't get heard.
Okay, thank you. All right, Joel, do you want to take us through the slides?
Yep. So if you can go to the slides, there we go. Yeah, so the only thing on the data center definition that I changed was that I added on the very last line, if you remember, I had on-site utility substation. And I added battery storage as well, because that also is a potential thing that someone might do for the purpose of backup power, emergency power, that sort of thing. And so, I think battery storage and how we handle that is a different subject. So I don't mean to be handling that here, but I did want to at least acknowledge that that was something that could, potentially be there. So if you go to the next slide, and this is where we did some modifications, especially thanks to a lot of good inputs from Chris, where I got stuck in a couple of places. So now as you can see, we've broken out accessory as a definition itself. And so I want to start there. So the accessory small data center is a small data center that is subordinate to and serves only the principal use of the premises, is located entirely within the same building as the principal use it serves. So that's really, really, really spelling it out, but I think that that's a good thing. I hadn't spelled it out that much. And Chris applied a number of that language, I think really helps to just make it very, very clear what we're talking about. And then it goes on to say an accessory small data center shall have a total electrical consumption of no more than 1 megawatt regardless of source, that's the same. Occupy less than 20,000 square feet and have no associated external infrastructure dedicated solely to the data center. So that's where what we're trying to say is that you can't have no external infrastructure with regards to what may or may not be the data center may be taking advantage of, but nonetheless, there isn't any external infrastructure dedicated solely to that. So if you had a business, if you had a manufacturing or whatever like that, and now you add a data center to it, and now you go from using 3 megawatts to 10 megawatts because you want to fuel your data center, even though you're still considering it a accessory use, that we're saying no, you can't do that. So that's the purpose of that definition. I think we both feel, Chris and I feel pretty comfortable with that language as far as what it's trying to do, which is to allow people to have data centers as long as it's serving their particular principal use and as long as it itself is not creating any impacts itself. So now I want to go back to a small data center. So now this is principal use. So data center, which is a principal use, so again, being like super clear, that has up to 1 megawatt of total electrical consumption regardless of source, is less than 20,000 square feet, and has no associated external infrastructure. That was the original definition. I would like for us to consider whether we would say with associated external infrastructure limited to generators subject to site plan review or something like that. And the reason I do that is because we do have a number of places, businesses, whatnot, where there are generators. I mean, I was just driving by the refurb of the housing next to town hall, and there's a little generator right out there by the road. And when we looked at the car wash, there was a generator associated with that. So it would seem to me to be arbitrary to say that we wouldn't allow a principal data center use to have some form of generator infrastructure. Now we're limiting it to 1 megawatt, so that means that you really can't have too much of a generator impact. But nonetheless, we would want to review to make sure that the generators are being, handled appropriately as far as screened, soundproof, so forth and so on. That to me seemed like a better way to go, because otherwise, if you're going to have a small data center, you're likely going to need some sort of emergency backup power. And we'd not allow them to have some kind of backup power seems like we're just essentially saying you can't have one. So that's something that I would suggest that the board consider adopting that language, that alternative language. And certainly would solicit comments from anybody on that and discuss that. Then the medium data center and the large data center pretty much remain the same. I think the change, I don't remember if I made this change before last time or not this time, but I just excluded any mention of a number of generators. And the reason I did that was because you're already limiting them. Oh, the other thing I forgot to add is that we reduced it from 5 megawatts to 3 megawatts. The reason we did that is because some of the other things that were driving what we're trying to control in terms of like the 50,000 gallons of fuel, the number and sizes of generators and things like that, looking at ways you would estimate you know, how much fuel would a generator use or to generate so many megawatts, and how many generators would you need, so forth and so on. Those numbers all seem to go together much better with 3 megawatts than 5. So now we're using, or I'm proposing that we use 3 megawatts, not 5 megawatts, as I originally proposed. And then the large data center is basically anything larger than 3 megawatts, and that's just basically, that's all we have to say. So before we, before we talk too much about the definitions, I want to go to the next slide, which is the use. Because here I'd like to propose 3 different kinds of uses, particularly related to the small data center. So the medium and the large data centers, they're not going to be allowed, that we agreed on. The accessory small data center, we're talking about allowing that pretty much wherever you would have those kinds of things, which is commercial and industrial. But the small data center is the one that originally when Chris and I were going back and forth, he reminded me that we had said that we weren't going to have any principal use allowed. And I thought that not allowing a small data center seemed almost overly restrictive because of the fact that it's limited to 1 megawatt, because we would control like what kinds of, we're excluding any kind of external things that could have impacts on anybody except for possibly generators, and even those are going to be somewhat limited because of the 1 megawatt and because of our review. So then I was saying, well, okay, if we chose not to be as restrictive as not allowing it anywhere, which is what's in the first use table, is that for the small data center, we consider whether it would be allowed in industrial, but by some kind of review by the planning board. And then possibly the most liberal one, I guess you might say, is to have it in commercial where the planning board can be reviewing that, and then as right in industrial. And so I understand the concerns that were expressed last time, that we want to sort of start small and grow into it. And I was just trying to prevent being overreactive, in the sense that I think if people recognize that data centers are an issue that we want to control, that they will be motivated to have some sort of a definition in place. I think allowing some use would be a good idea, and it may be that the middle one is the one that people may end up, sort of settling on as well. Okay, we'll allow it industrial with some oversight. But that's where I just wanted to sort of stop there and just open it to get people's thoughts on, do you want any modification of the definitions? Do you want a modification of the use? But we should do them together, right? So the definitions and the uses should be coordinated with each other.
Can you go back to the definitions?
Do you have a question on definitions?
I just have like a small nit from a presentation perspective. I would do accessory small data center first, then go into the small data center, medium and large.
Yeah,
The way you presented
that's
it.
fair.
Exactly the way you
Yeah.
presented it, because that's, I think, more natural, like, this is, and I think it's easier to, yeah, and I think it's, and again, obviously explain why we're defining a small data center, because we have it. These are your little IT rooms in office buildings. Those are technically data centers, so we want to make sure that that's defined, and we don't have like creep.
Mhm.
And then I'm
Yeah,
fine.
I'm fine with that. I agree.
And then I'm personally fine with, or for the small data center, associated, external limited to generators, subject to site plan review.
Do we need the site plan review wording in there? Because,
I didn't know.
well, actually,
You probably not, because if it's new construction, it's going to trigger, or if it's a conversion of an existing office building, it's changing from one use category to another use category. Probably not.
I mean, we can ask town council when he reviews this anyway. Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't sure about whether that really made sense, but I was just trying to communicate something with it, so.
Makes sense.
So I just had a clarifying question on the accessory. The definition references principal use, but how do you envision handling this for a multi-tenanted office building? Is this intended to have one data center for the entire building? Or is it intended for each business to have an opportunity?
Wouldn't each business have it?
I would say each business would have it, yeah, like.
It could actually be both. Because in most office buildings, well, not most, but.
No, when you're doing.
No, yeah, each company would have their own.
Each company, like, you know, like.
So as worded, it just uses principal use. So take 300 Apollo.
Yeah.
The principal use.
If you remember, my original attempt was that it was a facility that could be all of the facility or part of the facility.
No, it should be tied, I'm sorry, this is for accessory. So accessory, I would envision, this is per the company. So like, I have enough, I am at, in Lexington.
Each business.
Each business, right? Like, so each, you know, we have 4 or 5 businesses. You know, we have biotech companies, right? We all, you know, each one has their own IT closet, their own data center. It's separate. For security purposes, you have to have that. You would never, ever for
Unless
IT.
it's co-location facility, in which case it shifts.
No, from, even if you look at the SEC, anything that's public, the public company SEC guidelines, you have to have cybersecurity.
Well, those do, but there are co-location data centers where companies get together and rent space and share the overhead.
Yeah, but they would still be very separate, because you have separate.
So you may want to just consider switching out principal for business use.
Yeah, that's a good point, Evan.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
So principal use of the business.
No, it would be same building as the business use it serves.
Basically, we want to
Business.
allow each business within a building to.
Yeah.
To have their IT closet, like their
I'm
IT.
just not understanding where the words are gonna go, but I'm not gonna worry about that.
Let them do it, they're good. Joel's good.
Joel's doing a great job.
For the use table, I know we talked about the thought of not allowing it anywhere to start. I would not be in favor of the third option. I think that's asking for trouble at town meeting.
Too permissive.
But I would be in favor of the special permit in industrial.
Okay.
Especially since we are moving with the CBLT now.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is, again, I think this is the third rail. Like, I think there's so much confusion about data centers. There's so much talk, especially from a legislative perspective, whether something's going to be at the state level, the federal level, controlling it, the impacts to the environment. I think our goal should be to, let's define this. And let's make sure that anything that's currently being used doesn't morph. Like, someone can't come in and say, well, I have a business and I have my business has an IT, and it's, I'm already under this, and it morphs out of control, then we can't control it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the goal for us going in front of town meeting is to get these definitions out there and say, no. Then, when we have a business that may want to approach us to do something, then we can always go and propose that to town meeting and switch wherever we feel that it would be appropriate. But I think going in, other than all no, this will just shut down. It is too political it's just too political at this point. And there's so much unknown about legislation and who's going to legislate this. mean, there's talk at the State House, there's talk at the federal level, like,
I guess I'm just having a hard time thinking that somebody would flip out that we're just gonna allow it in industrial when it's far less impactful than, because we are limiting it, this is the small one, so we're limiting it to 1 megawatt, which is on the extremely low end of what typically is used in industrial anyway.
I just think it's, people don't understand it. And this is in front of town meeting, and it's gonna get emotional.
But the people who don't want data centers, they're gonna throw the baby out with the bathwater. They're gonna say, no, I just wanna leave it undefined and, you know, still be potentially susceptible to these things popping up because we don't really understand them.
Joel, you remember the MBTA zoning, right?
Well, how about this? I guess, I guess, does anybody like the third option here?
No.
No.
Okay. So we're going.
Yes.
So we're gonna go in front of, we're gonna open this up for a public meeting, right?
Public.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe, why
Why
don't
don't
we
we
see what the
keep
feedback
people,
is?
right, like, why don't we keep it, this is one version, one option we're thinking about doing, this is option B. Even like if you go in front of FinCom and go in front of the select board, right, like, let's hear, maybe get their
Well,
thoughts on it.
For the public meeting, and especially for a select board, when they do their articles, we're gonna need to have, I don't think we can go in with options. I think we can
Yeah.
have an alternative in our pocket that we're willing to go to. But I think if we're going to do that, we need to do option 2. I think we can go, typically we can go more restrictive in changes, but not less restrictive and not more broad. That's
And we need
typically the way
we need
that
a
we've been
proper
able to adjust
proposal,
these.
Not
Yeah.
a multiple choice.
Start this out with small and accessory and small, including your allowing by special permit and industrial for the small. And then if along the road you need to withdraw one component of it, that's all you do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we can not necessarily withdraw it, but change it from
Yeah, you
planning
can-
board to no
Yeah.
in the
Right.
process. I think it would be
Right.
much more easy to do that way than the other
Certainly
way.
than the other way.
So I would do our proposal, the second one.
Yeah.
So allow the accessory, as Joel has shown, and then do the small data center, special
It's an
permit, and IA and IS, and see what feedback we get.
Or what,
I am interested in knowing, which I don't know if it's something that I don't know how we would know this, but I am interested in knowing, are these parameters for the small data center so onerously prohibitive as to no one's ever gonna wanna build that here? Like, are we just,
No,
are we
I don't
just
think so.
entertaining ourselves making up these numbers? and putting
No, I don't think so.
No, no. I think up to 1 megawatt is actually leaves opportunity for small kinds of relatively, controlled kinds of things.
Okay.
You certainly are not going to get any sort of anywhere approaching anything like what's happening in Lowell when you cap it at 1 megawatt. Well,
I'm just gonna throw this out there, like, do we do maybe a joint meeting with the select board and FinCom to go through this, to get their feedback, like, right off the bat, like, get their temperature?
I think that's a lot of effort. I think we're easily able to get feedback
Informally.
informally.
Okay.
I'm not sure this one rises to that level.
Yeah.
Now, Joel, do we know about the data centers that are already in Chelmsford, like the one on Billerica Road, like how many megawatts they use?
1,
How about the one in Lowell?
8,000 square feet. Actually, surprisingly, in all the stuff that's reported on Markley, no one reports what their megawatts
Yeah.
are, but they have 27 diesel generators that are of a size that you would assume they're at least 1 to potentially 3 or 5 megawatts each. So you're talking well in excess of what.
16 cooling towers, like, it's crazy.
How many square feet is the whole
Yeah.
place?
Oh, it's 100? No.
352,000.
Thank you.
They were
expanding.
happy when that first came in. They were like, oh, look at what we're
Yeah,
doing.
'cause
So
they
are
get something in
people,
there.
are people
Yeah.
comfortable moving forward with that option too for small data center?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then see what feedback we get in the
Yes.
public hearing and select board and FinCom.
Yes.
And worst case scenario, we can always, if we get to town meeting and we get pushback, we can adjust it in town meeting too.
Yeah, true.
Yep. Yep. It's always amenable to an amendment if things get tough.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you, Joel.
Thanks, Joe, for all the work.
thank you, Joel.
Thank you.
All right, so I think we've closed out that discussion. I don't think we need a vote on that one. So Joel, if you can update those and get them to me for next week or so, and we can get that one on the board for the next, for the August public hearing as well.
Yep.
Okay. Next item, managed growth strategy.
We have a meeting scheduled for next week, so I think this probably needs to be discussed at our next meeting.
All right.
One thing I was going to mention is that as I was thinking about that, it was occurring to me that we actually are by default, the planning board already has a set of, I think, unarticulated goals and just in the things that we're doing. So I was just going to give some thought to putting them together to run by the board at some point, because I think when you look at what we're doing, we're not looking to expand industrial. We're actually looking to convert a certain amount of industrial to commercial. We're really more interested in sort of the missing middle sort of thing than we are in single family. So it's, I think those are already pretty good indications of where the board thinks this town should go as far as managed growth. So I was going to try to pull those together and run it by the board, and then potentially use that as something to, feed into the managed growth strategy. But haven't sent us out some homework things to look at before the meeting. So as far as specifying capacity and see if we can get a handle on capacity and that sort of thing.
Sounds
Get what
good.
kind of capacity?
Get a better
Capacity
understanding.
on infrastructure like sewer, water, et
Oh,
cetera,
yeah,
et cetera.
Yeah.
Infrastructure.
Sounds good. Thank you, Joel. All right, tracking, nothing to really talk about there, just continuing to provide the updates there. Contractor yard, version 7, if you can go to that.
These are all PDFs though, right? So we can't see track changes?
So on what, oh, no. So the track changes document, I'm not actually tracking changes, I'm tracking the status updates.
Okay.
So I probably misnamed that file. All right, so for contractor yards, after last meeting, I went back and looked at some things on the use table. If you could scroll to the use table. I looked at this and realized that our current indoor contractor yard is allowed in CB, and outdoor contractor yard is special permit in CB. All other commercial is no. I'm wondering if we want to take a look at the first tier contractor service business, adjusting this a little bit to make the to split out the CB and to make the moderate planning board special permit in CB only and no in the other commercial areas.
What's CB? Hold on, now I'm getting confused.
CB is the,
So moderate is outdoor?
so moderate includes light outdoor. So there's light storage outdoor.
No, then I'm a no on that. That's not the type
CB
of,
is roadside commercial.
yeah.
That allows automotive repair, open lot sales, wholesale businesses, retail, offices.
Like, I don't want to encourage I don't want to encourage outdoor in CB in the commercial space. Like, I just don't want to encourage more of that.
You just don't want to encourage more outdoor contractors yet.
Right, in the commercial space.
In anywhere.
No, I'm fine with it in IA.
Okay.
If we fix all the zoning of IA that we want to fix. But assume, we go ahead with our IA zoning, then I'm not sure, like, again, I'd rather have other types of businesses that are allowed in CB. Like, that's my fear. Like, I don't want to be a town that we have all of those businesses in CB. So just from a planning perspective.
It's like, where do we have them right now? Like North Road?
They're in CB districts along Littleton Road,
Littleton Road, yeah.
Tingsboro Road.
Some down off of Bill Ricker Road, what's that street like?
And then in CD, there's some on Princeton Street as you head into Vinyl Square.
Oh, yeah.
Middlesex Street is all
Yeah.
CB. So those aren't traditional, like, commercial retail corridors, like Chelmsford Street.
Yeah, but I'd like to, like, ideally, like, even like Littleton Road, like, I like that to, like, be more like more commercial, like a Chelmsford Street. Like,
Right.
I don't, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't necessarily, like, just because it's there, we're doing planning for the future. I think I would want that to be more, to encourage more of a commercial, like,
Which it primarily has
like,
on Littleton Road. Off of Littleton Road, Kidder Road is like industrial and contractor condos and things of that nature.
yeah, like, but ideally, I'd love to have that street to be more like, especially where it goes into Westford, right, to have that be more, and it's coming out of Chelmsford more, like, a continuation of more of like a village.
But Anita, the proposal that we had talked about allows, or it has special permit in all of the commercial districts except for CBLT, for the moderate.
So
That's
you're
the
making it
proposal
more
we had talked
constrained.
about. So my proposal now is to constrain it a little bit more and allow it where it's currently allowed and not allow it where it's not currently allowed.
Okay, that's okay. Okay, then yes, I'm in agreement with that. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Sorry, I totally agree with that. Fine, I'm
So
fine.
allow it by special permit in CB and CD.
And then not in the other three.
So it'd be CB and CD? It's allowed in CD?
By special permit?
It's currently not allowed in CD.
Correct. So that's,
So just allow it in CB.
yes, so that's what I would propose is allow it in CB by special permit,
Yeah.
Okay. Then I'm
only
okay.
moderate. And the tier one, the contractor service business, would be allowed in all the commercial areas. The moderate would be allowed in IA and special permit in CB, where it is now.
Sounds good.
I think that's good. And then heavy,
So where's
In
CB?
IA.
I'm trying to figure out
And
where's.
that's what I just asked.
because the outdoor contractor yards are allowed in CB,
Kidder.
this would still be
No,
more
but here.
restrictive because it wouldn't allow the heavy contractor yards in CB.
Right.
So this is still even more restrictive than it is now.
I'm still worried about that poor Martell kid. The tree guy. I'd like to find him a home.
I think he went to Billerica.
Did he?
I think so. So,
But there should, I mean, someone else like that.
but I mean, yeah, I mean, those are the IA uses that we were talking about. So that's what I would propose to be updated, so that we allow the moderates where the outdoor is currently allowed. Thoughts?
Now that I understand what you were saying, yes,
Okay,
I'm agreeing. Sorry, didn't mean to derail us.
it's okay.
Just a little rabbit hole dodge.
It's late, time for me to go home.
Only 9:30.
Pass my
Any
tea.
other thoughts other than Adita's?
I'm in accord.
Okay. Joel, you okay with
I'm
that?
not sure I'm not sure those qualified for thoughts, but that's okay.
Hey.
Joel, you okay with it?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Mike, John?
Yes.
Yeah, all right.
Okay. All right. I will make those updates. All right, moving on. New business is none. Community Development Director's Report. There's a lot there.
All right, so I was asked to sit in on a webinar related to this topic. At some point in the near future, we should probably take a deeper dive on this. I'll just give you the very high-level summary. The 2024 Mass Climate Act introduced new permitting reform. It's Section 225 CMR 29, which speaks to energy facility siting board related to solar and battery storage. This is newsworthy in Tewksbury, I think.
Yeah.
So these new regulations introduce a new local option for consolidated permitting. It's optional, meaning it's similar to MBTA zoning, where the state says you don't have to do anything. And if you don't do anything, if a project comes in, you just follow the state guidelines and regulations. It defines municipal permits related to solar. It defines, so municipalities can permit only small solar projects that generate less than 25 MWs, which I think is megawatts. And then on the storage side, for batteries, municipalities can regulate projects up to 100 MWK. Anything larger, the state siting board reviews and approves. There's a process where towns can petition to be involved, like Tewksbury did. The regulations also call for no longer than a 12-month local permitting process in which one decision is issued that consolidates any and all local permits, so planning board, Concom, historic district, whatever they may be. The statute identifies these two uses as a Dover use. The regulations prescribe the process at the local level, what kinds of projects are exempt from local permitting. It defines site suitability. It defines regulatory review standards and common conditions. So these regulations specifically define setbacks, lighting, monitoring, stormwater, nuisances, and emergency response. They've also issued some guidance documents and two model zoning bylaws. The question, what I'm not clear about, and I asked the question, I'm still waiting to hear back, is if this is a Dover use, which means it's reasonable regulation, and presumably the state regulations are defining those reasonable regulations, well, then what's the point of any community adopting local zoning? So it's still not, so I still don't fully understand that. But my suggestion is, I think the planning board needs to get to a point where they understand to what extent it makes sense for the town to adopt zoning. And if we decide that we should adopt zoning, well, then time is of the essence, obviously. I have no idea to what extent any of these projects would be interested in coming to Chelmsford. We obviously have commercial solar, and we have a bylaw, which seems to be working fine. I'm not aware of any principal battery storage projects.
So principal battery, is that, what is that?
It's essentially a warehouse with a ton of batteries in it that's connected to a principal source of energy. And I think, if I read correctly, it would have to be attached to clean energy source, if I read it
I think the
correctly.
battery is what Tewksbury had
that's what they were talking about.
approved by the state siting board. It was a large battery storage facility.
But it was for like
what
solar
creates the
or
energy?
wind power, I thought.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know the details.
I mean, that makes sense in the
In the
general
case-
direction.
In the case of there was another article about multiple facilities going in, not the Tewksbury one, but the company that was bringing in multiple battery sort of clusters or whatever in support of municipal utilities. And in that case, obviously, I don't think that's clean energy.
But I think somewhere in the documentation that I read through, they did define the battery storage in this context. And I thought I read that it was primarily battery storage for the clean energy. I have no idea where I read that.
It seems to me if they're trying to make it a Dover, that would be sensible. I mean, they're trying to move towards clean energy, and one of the problems is that you need energy storage.
Well, similar to MBTA zoning, the state they have a lesson learned, and they're providing a lot of local technical assistance. So NIMCOG has grant money similar to MBTA zoning to assist their member towns. And then the state's doing a lot of these webinars over the next, handful of weeks.
So the clean energy storage facility is defined in here.
In the regulations,
Yeah,
what definition is it?
it's small, it's under S, small clean energy.
Here it is.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is, okay, I get it. Interesting. It looks like they put sound barriers up around it. Does it give off a lot of noise?
So
This is the proposal.
I think they're defining these more as clean energy storage, clean energy infrastructure, and clean energy generation. So it's really related to solar
Yeah,
and wind.
and something
Storage.
about anaerobes.
Which is fascinating, because from a technical point of view, you cannot even differentiate between clean energy storage and dirty energy storage.
Well,
It looks
Except for where it's
exactly
coming from.
the
Yeah,
same.
if it's coming from,
It's, yeah, but
You
it
tapped it
has,
to a
but it
solar
has no
farm.
impact on the nature of the
Right.
facility.
But the
It's just the
output of
nature-
pollution, it does. So if you
No, the
only-
battery isn't polluting, it's the
I
generation.
understand.
Yeah.
But so if you're trying to generate clean energy and you
Yeah.
allow batteries to take clean energy and store it for
But you don't allow them
subsidized-
to take dirty energy.
Yeah.
How would you know?
Well, you
There's
ha-
no technical difference.
Well,
From a
like how
technical
you get
perspective, no, but
regulated to be
they're-
an organic farmer, they check up on it.
They're,
Yeah, most of them don't.
but what it is
Yeah.
defining it as is you can't install, I think, you can't install an energy storage facility that's not attached to some clean energy source.
Yeah, I mean, that's what they're saying, exactly.
Because they're encouraging the clean energy.
Right.
They're not, it's not necessarily the battery storage that they're encouraging the clean energy, which really requires the battery storage
And then,
to
and
be
then,
efficient.
and then power providers will start playing games about, I'll trade you my clean energy for your dirty energy.
Oh, they already
It'll be,
do that.
they do that already,
Yeah.
and it's indistinguishable.
So I think the other thing.
But apparently, there's, like, so they are putting up sound barrier, I'm just looking at the Tewksbury one. So it must make a lot of noise, because they have to put up sound fence to limit sound pollution for neighbors.
Well, it might be generation,
Yeah.
based on my experience
Lazy wind.
at power plants, anything related to electrical does give off some hum.
Yeah, no, but again,
So,
like, I know how hard it is to get, like, sound barriers on 495.
Most of
which
the batteries
we're
I have
hitting
are pretty
50 years
quiet.
now. And how much they cost,
so
that's.
going forward, I did see that there are some dates in here too of when it goes into effect.
I think it's already in effect.
I think towns can adopt it, but it really goes into a required state, I think, October 1st
Of this year?
of this year.
Right, correct.
Holy moly.
I
Right
think
now,
they're,
we're in the optional.
yeah, the
Under the
optional
radar.
opt-in
Yeah.
phase, and then it goes required October 1st,
Wow.
which there's no way we're gonna get to. So I think what would be helpful is some way to figure out if we don't do anything, what happens?
Yeah.
Do the state regulations automatically kick in?
Probably so.
So
So
what was presented was that if you do nothing, your existing zoning bylaw applies. So again, we have commercial solar bylaw, and then obviously any new facility may trigger major business complex, may trigger site plan. So at least procedurally, it would appear before the planning board. But as a Dover use
Yeah.
in the state regulations, your review would be limited in
Limited.
scope.
And I'm assuming if it's within Concom jurisdiction, their review would still be enforceable, like it is now.
Yeah.
And so as of October 1st, though, do the state regulations automatically go into effect and override ours?
That's my understanding.
Okay.
That would be my expectation.
I would think so.
So why don't I take a deeper dive and report back at the next meeting on that answer? What should we be doing between now and October, and what happens after October?
And then I think my guess is that since there's not much we can do for zoning changes between now and October 1st, actually, there's nothing we can do for zoning changes between now and October 1st.
We'll just put it on the next meeting agenda.
We have to assume that as of October 1st, if that state regulation goes into effect, that's what we'll end up following. So I think the
Unless
next
we
couple
do
of
a
months
Special meeting.
there's no way we'd be able to pull something together.
No, I mean, we could do a special town meeting at a subsequent date before.
Oh,
spring.
yeah. So I think between now and October 1st, I think we would have to just figure out, we have to assume that the state regulations will go into effect on October 1st and figure out procedurally what we can and can't do and how we're going to handle this. Because I think, Evan, it sounds like it's going to be more work on you to consolidate the process into one permitting process. And then we also, at the same time, try and figure out how we handle it after October 1st in terms of changing the zoning. Likely ask for NIMCOG assistance again to do the same thing that they worked with us on the MBTA zoning changes. Do the compare and contrast our zoning with the model, what changes we need to make, or do we just strike it altogether and replace it with the model from the state? So asking for NEMCOG's help probably soon, because they're probably going to get a lot of towns and cities asking for their help. So if we can get on their calendar, and then work with them to come up with some proposals for zoning changes, that we then figure out the timing, whether it's going to be the spring town meeting or a special town meeting sometime before. Okay. So I think we'll definitely need their help to sort through all this. It's a lot of information and updates. Okay. Thank you, Evan. Liaison updates.
Well, my stuff's been moved. to
Oh,
next
actually,
week, so-
sorry, before we get there. Evan, did you have anything else to
Nothing
cover?
else.
Okay, sorry, Mike.
Oh, the strategy stuff will be next week, so.
Yep. Okay.
Center Village isn't meeting this month, so.
Huh?
We got nothing.
Anita?
ZBA's having a meeting tomorrow.
Okay. John?
And the next NIMCOG council meeting will be next Wednesday.
All right. Joel, anything?
Yep, the Board of Health met last night, actually. I think it was last night. Yeah, it was last night. And there were some interesting things that came up. Of course, I asked, as I always ask, what's going on with the gap analysis, and that we did have we're very interested in the disposition of our comments, and so Donna, the public health director, reached out to the consultant to let him know that we were interested that the Board of Health was interested in when there was going to be when he's going to finish consolidating the comments, and then the next step would be a staff review. And so I asked, well, would that be in the next couple of weeks maybe or something? And she said she was waiting to hear back. So as has been par for the course for the gap analysis, it's coming. It's not here yet.
Thank you, Joel.
Anyway.
Continue to drive that timeline, please.
Now, also, what came up was they did some talking about chemicals that are used for spraying with regards to train tracks and then also power lines and so forth like that. And they were thinking about different ways of handling that. And I think they are going to discuss it further, but they're looking at potentially having something on their website like they do for the mosquito spraying and stuff like that. So, so there's an interest in, people being at least aware of that and what are common sense things to do with regards to that. Another interesting thing is that there are 2 septic systems that are in the aquifer that are over 20 years old that have failed. And so it's in a neighborhood that is not connected to sewer. And so there was going to be some, I guess, discussion in the neighborhood about whether they would go on sewer. And to go with that, there was a meeting between the Board of Health and the DPW, and Donna, the public health director, shared with me some of the wording with regards to policy regarding that. And so if you have a system that is at least 20 years old in an aquifer protection area that has failed, and it's no longer feasible to replace it, then upon review of a request for an exemption, then the DPW director may allow the resident to connect to sewer. So I thought that was a very good positive step. I mentioned there that certainly in the managed growth strategies, one of the things I think we would definitely be interested in as a town is one of our goals would be to get everybody that's on septic in the aquifer protection area onto sewer. So, and it's not a huge number of households, but nonetheless, if you're talking about an environmental goal, that would certainly be one of them.
What kind of number is it?
It's 20, oh gosh. I'd have to go back and look at, it's like, yeah, I don't have it, it's in my other book. It's like 23 or 19 or something like that. Okay. Yeah, it's not huge, thankfully. but nonetheless, it is more than one or two.
0, yeah.
Then the other interesting thing was with regards to Hildreth and the question of PFAS and what and the landowner needing to address that in terms of reporting a release and so forth and so on. If you remember, that was a thing with the Board of Health. They had a public hearing, at least one on it, so forth, and then they were waiting to hear from DEP about how that was resolving. And what she Donna again shared with me was that DEP has made the determination that even though they originally sent a notice of responsibility to the landowner, then as they reviewed it, and they realized that that was premature, and in fact that doing that is not consistent with their current approach. So this is now DEP's current approach, is that for low-level detections of PFAS in groundwater on residential properties, they are going to presume it's an upgradient source rather than an on-property source. So in other words, they are not necessarily, they say that it's widely detected in the environment, and so they are not going to treat that as a source issue. And even though the PFAS levels were above the minimum, they apparently weren't enough above for the state to consider that an issue.
So do we know what that threshold is?
Yes, it's 20 nano somethings.
Not the reportable threshold, but the new threshold that the minimal, whatever threshold they're now using.
Like whatever's actually going to make them care about it.
Yeah.
They're not going to publish that number.
That's on Anita's little chart there.
On residential property, apparently they've never heard of people like dumping stuff in their septic and so forth. So I just thought everybody would be interested in knowing that that's where DEP is at these days.
In this state, in Massachusetts. Can you imagine what it's like in Texas?
And so that, I think, is, that's pretty much it for the Board of Health.
Okay. Nothing from the Conservation Commission because July is an odd month where we alternate. So next week will be the Conservation meeting.
I do have a go back too. The other thing that they provided me a copy of what they had sent to our House representatives and also to our state senator with regards to the Mass Ready, I think it's the Mass Ready Act. It's in that the Senate had voted on, and the House voted on, that basically undid some of those restrictions or removals of local control that we were concerned about.
Yep.
And that then it was going to go into conference, and so we did contact Simon Cataldo's office, his administrative aide, actually called us, and we talked with her for a little bit. And basically, it's going into conference. We just emailed her today to ask her what the status was, and they have not scheduled the conference yet. But they're going. That's the next step, is to go into conference between the House and the Senate, where apparently our state senator is not in support of our having our our say in some of these things, but our representatives, fortunately, particularly Simon Cataldo, is, and so I don't know if he's actually on the conference committee or not. We asked him, is there anything that you would need us to do in order to communicate to somebody, write somebody, whatever.
So you're saying Barrett, or Senator Barrett's he's in favor of this?
That's my understanding. That's my understanding.
So have we reached out, has our Board of Health, our Concom reached out to the town of Lexington?
Lexington.
Isn't that where Barrett lives? I wonder if they know about what's going on. I would be really shocked if people in Lexington would be in favor of something like this.
any case, that's where things stand.
Thank you, Joel.
Well, I suggest that anybody who knows people who live in Lexington should reach out to them and let them know what's going on at the state level and what their senator from Lexington is supporting.
A number of our boards and chairs did reach out to all of our senators and reps.
But the problem is, we're reaching out, we're like one small town, like, we need to reach out to other towns,
Oh,
other committees.
Those notices went out to a number of conservation officers across the state. There was a lot of publicity around that.
And just put a finer point on this. Anita, you've mentioned over the months that by the time the town even knows about it, it's
already
sometimes too late.
Too late.
So the reason I mentioned that is that it was MACC that issued a statement on this particular one. But just this past week, through my listserv, in the environmental bill and the economic bill, not to your surprise, there's dozens of zoning amendments being proposed. You've heard about the ones where allow 5,000 square foot lots anywhere there's water and sewer infrastructure. There's a variety of other significant amendments that are scattered throughout all of the state proceedings. But to your point, you would think that state reps or state senators would have early announcement and notification, and that they would send those out. But for a town to try to track all these on their own is nearly impossible.
Or citizens to track
Right,
all.
which is why these MACC type organizations do it on behalf of their membership.
Yeah, and I personally like to see, like, I wish we had a list of all the senators and reps and where their income comes from, and how many of them are tied to,
Let's not get into that.
well, I would, but I wouldn't be surprised. I'm sorry.
I just,
Like,
I just wanted to add that it was not just MACC, but also MSMCP.
Yes.
Was very, very proactive about
What's
getting.
I'll send you the ones that I'm aware
Second
of.
round we got from MSMCP.
I'll send you the ones that I'm aware of.
And this is
Thank
one
you.
of the things that unfortunately with newspapers going
Right.
by the wayside, because a lot of people are used to like
Right.
it being delivered to them.
Yeah.
Right, like I know there's a lot of people who were surprised that we have a new town, like we're surprised that we lost Paul left, and B, that we had two candidates.
All right, Anita, we gotta keep moving.
Sorry.
Facebook was how I knew.
But like we
All
need
right,
some better
meeting
way.
minutes, everyone review them?
I did not.
I did not.
And I did not.
All right. So
Postponed.
we will
Push us off.
table it till next meeting.
When is the next meeting?
2 weeks.
All right,
22nd.
so at this time, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I have a question
Yeah.
before, do we, well, it can be after. Let's vote, adjourn. Are we skipping any meetings?
Nope,
We're not skipping any
nope,
meetings?
unfortunately.
Might be in the minutes.
Attend the ones you can,
No,
but
it's not in this move.
we cannot skip any this year.
Yeah, we got too much.
Mike can't leave yet.
Can
Yeah,
we-
Mike, don't leave yet. We haven't adjourned. Yeah, we can't skip any yet. We can't skip any because we've got public hearings timed for both August meetings, and then we've got some hearings coming up at the end of July. So we won't be able, unfortunately.
When is
I don't like
the
that.
Chelmsford Mall supposed to be coming back
Sorry.
to us?
All right, I'll take a motion to adjourn. Motion by Mike. All in favor? Joel?
Aye.
We have to do
Aye.
roll call.
Oh, that's right, we do.
Yeah, we do. All votes. Marcy?
Aye.
Deirdre? Anita? John?
Aye.
Aye.
And I'm an aye. Thank you, everyone. We are adjourned.
Good night, all.